Chapter 831. Boom. Crack. The middle-aged man in black self-destructed, and a destructive aura rolled out between heaven and earth like a raging wave. The glacier shattered, and the ground sank. The void was twisting crazily, as if it was about to split open. Puff. The Mu family's ancestor was the closest, so he bore the brunt of it. His face turned pale, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. It was enough to see that the cultivation of the middle-aged man in black was stronger than that of the white-robed man. At least his self-destruction could cause a trace of damage to the Mu family's ancestor. And because of the Mu family's ancestor's injury, the emperor's aura that imprisoned Qin Feiyong loosened a little. Qin Feiyong seized the opportunity, decisively opened a portal, and went in without looking back. Just as he disappeared, the destructive blast of the middle-aged man in black self-destruction roared. The portal instantly shattered, but there was no trace of him. Bastard! Seeing this scene, the Mu family's ancestor was furious. He was confident that he could easily kill the middle-aged man in black. But what he didn't expect was that these people from the Pill Pagoda were also crazy. They self-destructed their bodies without saying a word. Twice now. It was all because of the self-destruction of the people from the Pill Pagoda that Qin Feiyong was able to escape. So in his heart, his resentment towards the Pill Pagoda grew stronger. In the sky above a glacier, a sorry figure appeared out of thin air. It was Qin Feiyong. That was close. He scanned his surroundings and patted his chest with lingering fear. Just now. If he had left a step later, even if he hadn't been killed by the Mu family's ancestor, he would have died under the blast. The power of the War Emperor's self-destruction was not something he could resist. After a long time, he finally calmed down and took Yan Wei out. Isn't this too risky? Yan Wei looked at Qin Feiyong helplessly. He had never seen such a crazy young man. It's a little crazy, but it's basically within my expectations. Qin Feiyong laughed. Within your expectations? Yan Wei was taken aback. He frowned and asked, why are you so sure that the people from the main tower will blow themselves up? It's simple. As long as I say that I have evidence in my hands, regardless of whether it's true or not, the Mu clan's great ancestor will not let me go to the Central Divine Kingdom. And the only way to stop me from going to the Central Divine Kingdom is to kill that middle-aged man in black. The great ancestor of the Mu clan is so powerful that the middle-aged man in black is definitely not his opponent. Therefore, he could only choose to self-destruct. Qin Feiyong said. Yan Wei suddenly understood and said, so, you've already planned all of this. But, aren't you afraid that the black-clothed middle-aged man will change sides and join the Mu family? Qin Feiyong said, then let me ask you, would you let someone who knows your secret live in this world? I won't. Yan Wei shook his head. That's right. The Mu clan has planned such a big conspiracy. How can they let the middle-aged man in black continue to live in this world? Even if he joins the Mu clan, the great ancestor of the Mu clan will not let him go. And the middle-aged man in black, as the divine envoy of the main tower, naturally can see through this. So, in the face of such a hopeless situation, it's better to blow himself up. This way, it can create a chance for me to escape. After all, I'm the only one who knows the truth. Of course. If the great ancestor of the Mu clan can accept his betrayal, then I can only admit that I'm unlucky. Qin Feiyong said. Amazing. After hearing this, Yan Wei gave Qin Feiyong a thumbs up without hesitation. Although the young man in front of him is not very strong, his brain is really not comparable to ordinary people. However, I can't let the middle-aged man in black die in vain. After all, it's because of him that I can escape. I'll remember this account first, and then I'll find the Mu clan and settle it together. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed with a cold light. Yan Wei asked, then what's your plan now? I want to go to the Central Divine Kingdom, but I'm a little worried. Qin Feiyong said. The alchemy fire in the 5th to 9th regions has fallen into the Mu clan's hands, so there's no need to continue to stay in the 9 regions. What are you worried about? Yan Wei asked. Mu Qing. Although this person was seriously injured by the divine envoy of the main tower, I have a feeling that he will definitely not dive. And his omniscient eye is too big a threat to me. If he's also in the Central Divine Kingdom, then no matter how I disguise myself, I will be exposed. Qin Feiyong said. This is indeed a problem. But I think compared to Mu Qing, the great ancestor and the second ancestor of the Mu clan are a bigger threat. Because they will definitely not let you enter the Central Divine Kingdom alive. Yan Wei said. You're wrong. The Mu clan won't kill me now. Qin Feiyong shook his head and said. Why? Yan Wei was surprised. I don't know. Maybe in their eyes, I still have value. I'll tell you the truth. In fact, it's the Mu clan that lured me to the Forgotten Continent. Qin Feiyong said. They lured you here? Yan Wei was surprised. So, there's really something fishy about this? You don't have to worry about the Mu clan. Now, the people who know the truth are already dead. Even if I tell the truth, no one will believe me. Now, I have to worry about the Pill Pagoda. They will definitely hunt me down if they don't know the truth. If only I had evidence in my hands, then I wouldn't be so passive. Qin Feiyong sighed. Makes sense. Yan Wei nodded. Suddenly, he smiled and said, Not necessarily. What do you mean? Qin Feiyong was stunned and looked at him suspiciously. You don't know, right? In fact, after you left the castle, that little girl Lu Hong took out the image crystal. Yan Wei smiled. Took out the image crystal? Qin Feiyong was a little confused. Suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and said in surprise, You mean she recorded the conversation between me, the Mu clan's ancestor, and the black-clothed middle-aged man? Yes. Yan Wei nodded. Qin Feiyong was stunned and said angrily, Why didn't you say so earlier? You made me worry here for so long. Yan Wei smiled and said, Didn't I want to give you a surprise? How about it, is it a surprise? Yes. Qin Feiyong nodded again and again, overjoyed. With evidence, it's easy to do things. This Mu clan won't be proud for long. Yan Wei smiled and said, When are you going to go to the Central Divine Kingdom? Right away. Qin Feiyong said. Right away. The smile on Yan Wei's face suddenly froze. Seeing this, Qin Feiyong patted his head and said, Look at my head. I forgot what I promised you. Okay, I'll accompany you back to the tribe first, and then go to the Central Divine Kingdom. This, on the contrary, Yan Wei hesitated. What's wrong? Qin Feiyong was puzzled. This, I think I can go back alone, Yan Wei said. Qin Feiyong was stunned and said helplessly, You don't trust me that much. Without a doubt. Yan Wei must be worried that Qin Feiyong would make things difficult for his clansmen. It's not a matter of trust or not, but I have to be responsible for them. I can't let them enter the fire pit. Yan Wei said. Fire pit? Qin Feiyong smiled bitterly. He remembered that in the great Qin Empire, there were countless people who wanted to curry favor with him. But in Yan Wei's eyes, he was actually a fire pit? It was really a blow. Qin Feiyong glanced at him and nodded helplessly. Okay, I won't go. Are you satisfied now? Ha. Yan Wei smiled awkwardly. Qin Feiyong waved impatiently and said, Go and come back quickly. I'll wait for you here. Okay. Yan Wei nodded, took out a portal, opened it quickly, and soon disappeared in front of Qin Feiyong's eyes. Fire pit. Qin Feiyong shook his head and couldn't help laughing. It seemed that he had to find a chance to tell this Yan Wei, so that he wouldn't treat him like a plague all day. Swish. Then. Chapter 832. The 8th Region. In a certain glacier, there was a huge tribe. This tribe covered an area of dozens of miles. Old wooden houses were arranged neatly like stars in the sky. Around them, there was a row of tall wooden fences covered with snow, like a city wall, blocking the whistling cold current for this tribe. However, in this huge tribe, there was not a single person. Not even a child. At a glance, other than the houses, there was only snow, as if it was an empty city. In front of the gate of the tribe, there was a stone tablet that was more than 10 meters tall. On it, there was a pattern engraved. It was a golden giant tiger. In between its eyebrows, there was an eye-catching king word, and its bell-like eyes were shining. Although it was just a pattern, it was very real. It was like a real giant tiger, sealed in the stone tablet, emitting a shocking king's aura. And this was the totem. Under the totem, there were 4 bold words. Sky Tiger Tribe. Suddenly, a child ran out from one of the houses. This child was only 3 or 4 years old, with a small canine tooth, wearing a red doo-doo, and a golden bell hanging on his neck. As he ran, the bell made a crisp sound. The child's mouth was full of blood. Moreover, there was a trace of bloodthirsty light in his small eyes, and he seemed to be full of hostility. He stood in the snow outside, looking around. His eyes suddenly flashed, and he wiped the blood from his mouth, and the hostility between his eyebrows disappeared instantly. At this moment, a strong man in black clothes descended in the sky above the Sky Tiger tribe. It was Yan Wei. The child in the doo-doo raised his head and looked at Yan Wei. With an innocent smile on his pink little face, he looked very obedient. I'm finally back. At the same time, Yan Wei stood in the sky, looking at the tribe below, and for a moment, he was filled with emotions. Back then, he went to the Black Dragon Glacier full of confidence, but in the end, not only did he not get the inheritance of the demon dragon, he almost died inside. In the end, he survived, but he was reduced to being someone else's servant. His life was out of his control. If the heavens could give him another chance, he would rather die than enter the Black Dragon Glacier. It's all because of greed. He sighed to himself and sorted out his emotions. A faint smile appeared on his face. He continued to hide it because he didn't want his clansmen to notice anything and worry about him. But just as he was about to go down, he couldn't help but be stunned. Where did the people of the tribe go? Why didn't he see any of them? Very soon, he found the child in the doo-doo. Whoosh! He flashed and landed in front of the child. He squatted down and gently grabbed the child's shoulders. He smiled and asked, "Whose child are you? Where are the others?" The fact that the Sky Tiger tribe had their own totem meant that there were at least 1,000,000 of them. Even if Yan Wei was the leader of a tribe with 1,000,000 people, it was impossible for him to know everyone. I don't know. Uncle, can you take me home? I think I'm lost. The toddler shook his head. His voice was very childish, and there was a trace of confusion on his little face. Okay. Yan Wei smiled dotingly. He reached out and picked up the child. He asked, "What are your parents' names?" My parents' names? Let me think. The toddler scratched his head and suddenly smiled. I remember now. My father is called Hades and my mother is called Grim Reaper. Hades? Grim Reaper? Yan Wei was stunned. He reached out and touched the child's forehead. He didn't have a fever. Why was he talking nonsense? Creak. At this moment, the door of a house at the side was gently pushed open. A burly man carefully poked his head out and scanned the outside. Leader? When he saw Yan Wei, the burly man was surprised. However, when he saw the child in Yan Wei's arms, his face changed and he shouted, "Leader, be careful." Yan Wei was shocked. He quickly scanned the surroundings and then looked at the burly man. He asked curiously, "Be careful of what?" "Be careful of him." The burly man pointed at the toddler, his face full of fear. Is there a problem with him? Yan Wei suspiciously lowered his head and looked at the child in his arms. The child grinned at him. Immediately, a strong sense of crisis emerged in Yan Wei's heart. Without thinking, he hurriedly threw the child out. But at the same time, the child stretched out his little hand. That pink and tender little arm was like a sharp blade. With a poochy sound, it pierced into Yan Wei's lower abdomen. Ah! Yan Wei screamed in pain on the spot. His face was distorted. Leader! Little bastard, I'll fight it out with you. Seeing this, the burly man hiding behind the door roared and rushed towards Yan Wei crazily. What? Leader is back. And the burly man's roar alarmed the entire Sky Tiger tribe. Bang bang bang. The doors were knocked open one after another. Groups of people rushed out. There were men and women, old and young. It's really the leader. The Sky Tiger tribe was in an uproar. They all rushed towards Yan Wei. As for the toddler, after breaking Yan Wei's sea of qi, he quickly retreated. Standing in the snow, he scanned the crowd around him. The anger that disappeared between his brows appeared again. Leader, how are you? Are you okay? The burly man who first discovered Yan Wei ran to Yan Wei's side and asked with concern. My sea of qi was shattered by him. Yan Wei's face was pale and his limbs were weak. He only stood up with the help of the burly man. He stared at the toddler and asked, "Who are you?" Didn't you see? I'm just a child. The toddler blinked his little eyes and looked pitifully at Yan Wei. Leader, don't be fooled by his appearance. The burly man hurriedly reminded. Yes, this little bastard is not only powerful, His methods are also extremely vicious. Many of our tribesmen died tragically in his hands. More and more people gathered behind Yan Wei. They all shouted with righteous indignation. I didn't want to. But their blood is so delicious. I couldn't control myself. The toddler said timidly. What do you mean? Yan Wei didn't understand. Every time he kills someone, he will suck their blood dry. Only a dried-up corpse is left. During this period, more than 10,000 tribesmen have been sucked dry. He's simply inhumane. He's a vampire. The tribesmen of the tribe cried out in grief. Sucking their blood dry. Yan Wei's eyes trembled. Where are the high priest and the others? The high priest is dead. Not only is the high priest dead, all the battle saints of our tribe have been killed by him. The crowd cried out in grief. Boom. Hearing this, Yan Wei felt as if he had been struck by lightning. His body and mind trembled and his mind rumbled. They were all dead. Why did this happen? It had only been a short year since he left the tribe. Why did so many things happen? When did this happen? He looked at the tribesmen behind him and asked. His voice was weak and his eyes were dim. It was as if he had aged a few decades. Half a year ago. For the past half a year, we were like beasts reared by him. We lived in despair every day without any hope. Leader, you shouldn't have come back. If you didn't come back, the Sky Tiger tribe still had hope to rise again. But now, not only are we going to die, you are going to die too. The crowd cried out in grief. The elders of the tribe were in tears. As for the children, they were lying in their parents' arms and crying loudly. Helplessness was written all over their faces. Yan Wei said, Is this the reason why you didn't send me a message? Yes. He's too strong. He killed the high priest in an instant. What's the use of calling you back? You still can't save us. A few old men lamented. What? Hearing this, Yan Wei's heart was in turmoil. One had to know. The high priest was of the same cultivation level as him, an 8-star battle saint. How could he be killed in an instant? Just how strong was this child? He suddenly turned his head and stared at the child in the doo-doo. He shouted, Who are you? Why are you doing this to the Sky Tiger tribe? Hee. The child in the doo-doo grinned and said playfully, Do you still remember the Mu family? You? Yan Wei's eyes widened. He swallowed hard and said, You are from the Mu family? Yes. The child in the doo-doo nodded. Yan Wei's face turned pale. If it was in the past, he would not be afraid when he heard about the Mu family. Instead, he would be disdainful. But now he did not dare. He had personally experienced the terror of the Mu family. It was not something the Sky Tiger tribe could provoke. Why? He asked. Isn't it simple? You helped Qin Feiyang and went against the Mu family. Of course, the Mu family will not let you have an easy time. With the power of the Mu family, it would be too easy to find the Sky Tiger tribe. How about this? Since you've returned, tell me the whereabouts of Qin Feiyang. Or deceive him to come here. When I am in a good mood, I might let the Sky Tiger tribe go. The child in the doo-doo smiled. Help Qin Feiyang? Leader, is what he said true? Why are you with Qin Feiyang? You should know that he is the person the Pill Pagoda wants dead. The tribesmen of the Sky Tiger tribe looked at Yan Wei in disbelief. Do you think I want to? Yan Wei sighed deeply. He looked at the child in the doo-doo and said, If you want to kill me, I will admit it. I only beg you to let my tribesmen go. Do you think that is possible? You only have one choice now, and that is to trick Qin Feiyang here. The child in the doo-doo said. I have already parted ways with him. I don't know where he is now, and I have not built a bridge with him, so I cannot contact him. Yan Wei said. Then I have no choice. I can only kill your tribesmen one by one. The child in the doo-doo's face turned cold. His eyes were filled with blood. It was a bloodthirsty light, filled with unparalleled brutality. He stretched out his arm and a 12 to 13-year-old boy in the crowd flew towards him uncontrollably. Yan Wei's sea of qi was shattered and he had lost all his cultivation. He could not stop it and could only watch as the boy landed in front of the child in the doo-doo. The taste of fresh blood is too delicious. The child in the doo-doo licked his lips and gently cut the boy with his finger. A wound appeared on the boy's body and blood gushed out. Chapter 833. Father, Mother, save me. The youth immediately began to cry for help, his young face filled with fear. Let go of my child. A man and a woman ran out from the crowd and rushed towards the child without any regard for their lives. Yan Wei's face changed and anxiously shouted, Quickly stop them. A few brawny men immediately rushed forward and hugged the man and woman tightly. These two people were only at the War Master level. If they rushed forward like this, they would simply be sending themselves to their deaths. Let me go. I want to save my child. However, the man and woman seemed to have been possessed as they crazily roared. They couldn't be blamed for this. In this world, which parent didn't care about their child? Seeing their child walking towards death step by step, they would naturally go crazy. Calm down. Yan Wei furrowed his brows and shouted, That's not your child. Of course you can calm down. Let me tell you, the reason why our heavenly tiger tribe is in this state today is all because of you. If you hadn't colluded with Qin Fei Yong, would he have come here? If he didn't come, the high priest and the others wouldn't have died in vain, and our child wouldn't have died so tragically. The man and woman roared as if they had gone mad. Hearing these words, the other clansmen of the heavenly tiger tribe also fell silent. Although they shouldn't criticize the leader like this, it was undeniable that this was the truth. Yan Wei was also silent. He was a little angry, but he knew that he didn't even have the right to be angry. However, he didn't want this to happen either. Who would want to see such a scene? Who would want to see their clansmen die one by one? All of a sudden, his heart was filled with anger, self-blame, despair, and resentment. Shua! Suddenly, he raised his head to look at the child and roared, Let him go. If you have anything, come at me. As he spoke, he broke free from the big man's support and walked towards the child without hesitation. What do I need you for? The child in the undergarment laughed disdainfully. With a wave of his little arm, an invisible force blasted towards Yan Wei. Puff! Yan Wei was sent flying on the spot. He spat out a mouthful of blood and smashed into the crowd behind him. Leader, how are you? Are you all right? Can you not be silly? Even if you still have your cultivation, you're still no match for him. Moreover, you're just a cripple now. Just do as he says. Trick Qin Fei Yong into coming here. Even if it's not for us, we have to think about the children in our tribe. Yes, we're not afraid of death, but these children can't die. Look at them. Look at how scared and desperate they are now. I'm afraid this incident will leave a shadow in their hearts for the rest of their lives. Everyone howled in grief. The entire tribe was filled with a desolate atmosphere. And how could Yan Wei not know this? However, he knew that if he called Qin Fei Yong over, it would only speed up the destruction of the Sky Tiger tribe. Because the Mujia's target is Qin Fei Yong. If Qin Fei Yong doesn't come, the Mujia won't really kill him. However, as long as Qin Fei Yong comes, the Sky Tiger tribe will lose its value. The end result will be the destruction of the tribe. However, the tribesmen didn't know the bitterness in his heart. They all thought that he was still protecting Qin Fei Yong. They couldn't help but feel resentment in their hearts. After a moment of struggle, Yan Wei gritted his teeth and said, All right, I'll listen to you. Immediately called Qin Fei Yong over. Quickly let him go. Do you know where he is? Then just now, why did you say that you don't know? That's where you're wrong. You'll pay the price for lying to me like this. Do you know that? The child in the doo-doo grinned and suddenly raised his arm. Like a knife, it sank into the youth's heart and crushed it. Ah! The youth screamed in pain and died on the spot. The blood that gushed out from the youth's heart was all sucked into the mouth of the child in the doo-doo. Awesome! This taste is too good for words. He closed his eyes and raised his head. His face was full of enjoyment and intoxication. Damn it! You demon, give me back my son's life. The parents of the youth had also gone completely crazy. Their aura suddenly burst out and shook the people around them away. They madly pounced on the child in the doo-doo. Whoosh! The child in the doo-doo suddenly opened his eyes. 2 rays of cold light burst out of his eyes. What I hate most is people disturbing me at this time and ruining my mood. As soon as he finished speaking, the golden bell on his neck suddenly shot out 2 rays of golden light and sank into the brows of the man and woman. Boom! Ah! Accompanied by 2 screams, the 2 people's heads immediately exploded like watermelons. The cruel methods and bloody scene made one's hair stand on end. Plop. Looking at this scene, Yan Wei knelt on the ground powerlessly and begged, "I beg you, please don't hurt my tribesmen anymore, okay? Okay. As long as you call Qin Feiyong over, I'll let them go." The child in the doo-doo grinned. His lips and teeth were stained with blood. It was scarlet and looked so ferocious. "Okay, wait for me." Yan Wei nodded, got up, and walked to the side of a slightly older elder. He whispered to the elder a coordinate. Now that his cultivation was crippled, he could not open the portal himself. Bas! The elder waved his hand, and a portal appeared. His battle chi surged, and the portal immediately expanded in the wind and quickly opened. "I'll be back soon. Don't hurt them anymore." Yan Wei looked at the child in the doo-doo again and said worriedly. He stepped into the portal. The teleportation gate quickly dissipated. At the same time, Yan Wei appeared out of thin air above a glacier. However, because he had lost his cultivation, he could not fly in the air. As soon as he appeared, he fell powerlessly. "Qin Feiyong, come out quickly." As he fell, he shouted loudly. The next moment, Qin Feiyong appeared out of thin air. Seeing Yan Wei covered in blood, his expression changed. He quickly swooped down, carried Yan Wei, and landed on the peak of an ice mountain. "What happened?" After putting down Yan Wei, Qin Feiyong asked in surprise. Yan Wei said weakly, "First, give me a spirit sea pill." "Spirit sea pill?" Qin Feiyong was stunned. When he saw the wound on Yan Wei's lower abdomen, he suddenly understood. He immediately took out a spirit sea pill with 4 veins and put it in Yan Wei's mouth. The pill melted in his mouth, turned into a majestic energy, and rushed to Yan Wei's sea of qi. Qin Feiyong frowned. "Didn't you go back to the tribe? How did this happen?" Yan Wei said angrily. "Isn't this all your fault?" "Me?" Qin Feiyong was a bit confused. The Mujia's people are standing in my tribe, my people." Speaking of this, Yan Wei couldn't continue. He lowered his head, his face was distorted by the pain, and tears couldn't help but burst out of his eyes. Although Yan Wei didn't finish, Qin Feiyong already understood. His face instantly became gloomy. "These damn bastards." He clenched his hands and said, "When did they go?" "Not long after we left the Black Dragon Glacier, they found my tribe. Their target is you. I have no choice. In order to save my people, I can only come to you. I beg you, come with me." Yan Wei endured the pain, kneeling on the ground, begging Qin Feiyong, "Get up first." Qin Feiyong frowned and said. Yan Wei shook his head. "If you don't agree, I will kneel here until I die. I will go. Because they are your people, I won't leave them to die. But you have to know, even if I go, the Mujia won't let them go." Qin Feiyong said. "I know, but I can't just leave them alone, right?" Yan Wei roared. "So the most important thing now is to think of a way to transfer your people." Qin Feiyong said. "Transfer? There are more than 1 million people in my tribe. How can we transfer them? What's more, even if there is a way to transfer them, the Mujia will definitely stop us. That's simply a fantasy." Yan Wei shook his head. His face was full of helplessness. "Yes, to do this is harder than ascending to the sky." Qin Feiyong sighed. "But if they ran like this, not only would they not be able to save the people of the Sky Tiger tribe, even he and Yan Wei would be captured. But what can they do to get the best of both worlds?" "I can help you." Suddenly, an emotionless voice sounded above their heads. "Who?" The two of them were startled. They looked up and their faces were suddenly stunned. It was a beautiful woman, wearing a white dress. Her hair was fluttering in the wind, exuding an otherworldly aura. Who else could it be but the mysterious lady? After regaining his senses, Qin Feiyong frowned. "You've been following us all this time?" The mysterious lady said. "After leaving the Black Dragon Glacier, I have been following you all this time." "How did you do it?" Qin Feiyong was surprised. At that time, he left using the portal. Only he knew where he was going. But this mysterious madam had actually found him so quickly. Wasn't this too ridiculous? The mysterious lady said, "Don't worry about this. Just answer me, do you need my help?" "Yes, of course I do." Before Qin Feiyong could answer, Yan Wei spoke first, as if he was grasping at a life-saving straw. The mysterious lady frowned and said, "Shut up, I want Qin Feiyong to answer personally." Yan Wei immediately looked at Qin Feiyong pleadingly. Qin Feiyong frowned and asked, "What are your conditions?" The mysterious lady wanted him to answer personally, which meant that she definitely wouldn't help for free this time. There must be some conditions. You are indeed a smart person. The mysterious lady nodded and smiled. I need you to go to the Central Divine Kingdom's main tower and help me get something. The mysterious lady said. Go to the main tower. Qin Feiyong was shocked and asked, What is it? The mysterious lady didn't answer. Her slender finger pointed in the air, and battle chi gushed out, condensing into a 5-colored crystal in the void. This crystal was triangular, as big as a baby's fist, and it was colorful all over, shining with a hazy brilliance. The mysterious lady said, This 5-colored crystal is with the tower master of the main tower. It's not easy to get it. You'd better think carefully. Qin Feiyong held his breath and said angrily, You want me to steal something from the tower master of the main tower? Are you kidding me? That's why I want you to think carefully. The mysterious lady said. Yan Wei begged, Qin Feiyong, I beg you, agree to her request. Don't worry, I will do my best to help you, even if it costs me my life. Don't worry. Qin Feiyong comforted her inwardly. He looked at the mysterious madam and said, Then you have to tell me why you want to snatch this crystal. What's the use of this crystal? I can't tell you. Just tell me, do you agree or not? The mysterious lady shook her head, leaving no room for discussion. Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows and said helplessly, Do I have a choice? But this is too dangerous. I can lose my life if I'm not careful. You have to give me a way to save my life. If you want benefits, just say it. Why do you have to be so fake? The mysterious lady rolled her eyes and said, I'll give you 2 more perfect battle arts, okay? Only 2. That's too little, isn't it? Qin Feiyong said unhappily. The mysterious lady's face twitched and said unkindly, Boy, have you heard of the saying, a man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant? I advise you not to be too greedy. Qin Feiyong smiled. What a joke. Who would complain about having too many perfect battle arts? But he also knew that the mysterious lady meant what she said, so he didn't continue to pester her. 2 was better than nothing. Looking at Qin Feiyong's expression, the mysterious lady couldn't help but laugh and said, Actually, you don't have to be too worried. If something happens to you, someone will secretly help you. Qin Feiyong's heart skipped a beat. This woman had planted a spy in the Central Divine Kingdom. Who is it? He asked curiously. You'll know when the time comes. Of course, if you can succeed, he won't appear. The mysterious lady said. Qin Feiyong nodded and his eyes suddenly turned cold. He said, Then there's no time to lose. Let's go to the Sky Tiger tribe immediately. As for the perfect battle arts, give me them later. There's hope. Chapter 834. Sky Tiger Tribe. The toddler was like a king, looking arrogant and disdainful. His aura shrouded the entire area. You have done such a heartless thing. You will suffer retribution sooner or later. The tribesmen of Sky Tiger Tribe stared at him with hatred in their eyes. Retribution. Let me tell you, when Qin Feiyong arrives, all of you will die. The toddler sneered, his face full of hostility. Everyone trembled. The Mu family was really vicious. In the eyes of the Mu family, Sky Tiger Tribe was just a pawn to lure Qin Feiyong here. Don't be afraid. Soon, you will even forget the taste of pain. This place will soon become a graveyard. The toddler licked his lips, his eyes were bloodshot, like a demon, extremely terrifying. You're wrong. This is not their graveyard, it's your graveyard. Suddenly, a cold voice sounded. 3 figures descended from the sky above the tribe. They were Qin Feiyong, Yan Wei and the mysterious madam. You're courting death. The toddler's eyes turned cold as he looked up. Immediately. His pupils constricted. His gaze fixed on the mysterious madam. Just this kid? At the same time, Qin Feiyong was also looking at the toddler, his expression a little startled. Don't underestimate him. I heard from my tribesmen that the battle saints of my tribe, including the high priest, died in his hands. I was also bewitched by his appearance. That's why I suffered a great loss. Yan Wei whispered. What? Qin Feiyong was dumbfounded. He clearly remembered that Yan Wei once told him that there were hundreds of battle saints in Sky Tiger tribe. And the high priest was an 8-star battle saint. He did not expect that they would all die in the hands of this kid. "It's you." Suddenly, the mysterious madam's voice sounded. "You know him?" Qin Feiyang asked. He's called Demon Child, cruel and bloodthirsty. Furthermore, he would often use this face to confuse others. As for his strength, he is very strong, second only to the Mu clan's great ancestor and second ancestor," the mysterious lady said. This, Qin Feiyang was stunned. Yan Wei's body and mind were also trembling, and his whole body was cold. He knew that this person was strong, but he didn't expect him to be this strong. "Who are you? Why do you keep going against my Mu clan?" Demon Child frowned. "What is the Mu family?" the mysterious lady said. Just this one sentence was filled with an incomparable domineering aura. Boom! A terrifying aura rushed out from Demon Child's body. He gloomily stared at the mysterious madam. The bloody light flickered like a sea of blood. But at the same time, there was a trace of fear. "You're also the pillar of the Mu family. If I were to kill you today, I'm sure the Mu clan's great ancestor and second ancestor would be very sad." The mysterious lady pursed her lips and smiled. However, this smile was like the smile of the Grim Reaper, causing one's hair to stand on end. Whoosh! She took a step forward. In an instant, she landed in front of Demon Child, raised her white jade-like hand, and reached for Demon Child's head. Demon Child's face changed, and he quickly retreated. "I'm here, so don't even think about leaving." The mysterious lady was domineering. A powerful pressure emerged, forcibly rolling up Demon Child and rushing into the sky. "Bitch, don't go too far." Demon Child was furious. His whole body was covered in bloody light, and he slapped the mysterious lady with a backhand, his battle chi roaring in all directions. "So what if I bully you?" The mysterious lady smiled disdainfully, and slapped her palm without dodging. Boom! The moment the two palms collided, the void distorted, and the world lost its color. A destructive wave of air, like a tsunami, rushed in all directions. Fortunately, the two were fighting in the sky. Otherwise, this battle's fluctuations were enough to make Qin Feiyang and the others, as well as the entire Sky Tiger tribe, instantly turn into ashes. Puff! At the same time, Demon Child was directly sent flying by the mysterious lady's palm, and blood spurted from his mouth. On the other hand, the mysterious lady stood firmly at the top of the sky, without moving at all. "Kid, you'd better go back and drink milk." The mysterious lady shook her head, her face full of contempt. "You're courting death." When Demon Child heard this, it was as if someone had stepped on his tail, and he immediately jumped over the wall. Boom! Behind him, a huge figure emerged. It was a humanoid battle soul. Whether it was the appearance or the figure, it was exactly the same as the black-robed old woman's battle soul. Moreover, it was impossible to see the true appearance of the humanoid battle soul. However, the difference was that Demon Child's humanoid battle soul was blood-red all over, as if it was condensed from blood, exuding a monstrous murderous aura. Overconfident. That's exactly what people like you are. The mysterious lady glanced at Demon Child contemptuously, then looked at the humanoid battle soul, and a cold light burst out from her eyes. Whoosh! Suddenly, she raised her hand, and a bright beam of light gushed out from her fingertips, cutting through the sky, and blasted towards the battle soul with the power to destroy the world. Boom! With a thunderous sound, the battle soul was instantly annihilated. Poof! Demon Child spat out blood again, and his small body flew out like a meteorite, his face pale. So strong. Waves of shock surged in his heart. "I'm not afraid even if it's your grand ancestor or second ancestor, let alone a baby who's still drinking milk." The mysterious lady was too strong. Not only did she frighten Demon Child, but even Qin Feiyang was afraid from the bottom of his heart. If this woman had not changed her mind, he would have become a dead soul long ago. And he really could not guess what this woman was thinking. On the one hand, she tried every means to frame him, and even almost killed him several times. On the other hand, she saved him repeatedly, and gave him so many perfect battle arts for free. Even the people around him, such as Fatso, Wolf King, and the two-winged Snow Eagle, also benefited a lot. Qin Feiyang was very confused by her attitude of seeming like an enemy but not an enemy, seeming like a friend but not a friend. He did not understand what this woman wanted to do. Whoosh! At the same time, Demon Child fled. That's right. He was running away. It could be described as running away in a panic. He was in an extremely sorry state. Trash. The mysterious lady sneered and stepped on the void. Her speed was faster than lightning, and in a few blinks of an eye, she was in front of Demon Child. Get lost! Demon Child roared. Blood roared all over his body, condensing into a blood-red giant python, revealing sharp fangs and pouncing towards the mysterious lady. This was a type of battle art. And according to Qin Feiyong's deduction, it was a perfect battle art. But in this regard, the mysterious lady's expression did not change, and she did not even use her battle art. Boom! She waved her jade-like hand in the air, and a wave of battle chi surged out, turning into a huge wave that slapped the giant python. Boom! Ah, of course, the giant python collapsed. Demon Child screamed and smashed into the glacier below like a blood-stained meteorite. Within a radius of dozens of miles, the ice peaks collapsed and the earth cracked, as if doomsday had arrived. Fortunately, when Demon Child escaped earlier, he had already left the sky above the Sky Tiger tribe. Otherwise, he would not have fallen in the glacier, but the Sky Tiger tribe. Whoosh! Qin Feiyong waved his hand and flew towards the glacier with Yan Wei. Very soon, the two landed beside the mysterious lady and scanned the area below. There was a huge pit below, and Demon Child was lying at the bottom of the pit, dying. His entire body was dripping with blood. Are you satisfied? The mysterious lady smiled faintly. Qin Feiyong and the mysterious lady looked at each other and could not help but smile bitterly. Did they dare to say that they were not satisfied? Yan Wei bowed and said, "Thank you, my lady." "Why are you thanking me?" "If you want to thank someone, you should thank Qin Feiyong. If he hadn't agreed to my conditions, I wouldn't have cared about the life and death of your Sky Tiger tribe," the mysterious lady said coldly. When Qin Feiyong heard this, he shook his head helplessly. This favor was sold well, but he really dared not accept it. "Thank you." Yan Wei was very honest. He looked at Qin Feiyong gratefully, then swooped down and landed beside Demon Child, his eyes releasing a strong murderous intent. "Can you kill him?" He looked up at the mysterious lady. "Go ahead." The mysterious lady smiled faintly, and a powerful pressure emerged, firmly imprisoning Demon Child. Yan Wei immediately lowered his head, like a mad beast, firmly locking onto Demon Child. He said coldly, "You didn't expect to fall into our hands so soon, did you?" "I didn't expect it, but do you dare to kill me?" Demon Child sneered, his face full of disdain. "If it was in the past, I really wouldn't dare. But now, not only will I kill you, but I also want you to taste the feeling of living a life worse than death." At the thought of the death of his clansman, the murderous intent in Yan Wei's heart grew stronger. Clang! He took out a dagger and stabbed it into Demon Child's lower abdomen without hesitation. Suddenly, blood splashed into the sky. Demon Child couldn't help but howl. The heart-wrenching pain made his face deform. "This stab is for me. And this stab is for the young man you killed. This stab is for his parents. This stab is for the high priest. This stab..." Yan Wei seemed to have gone crazy, stabbing Demon Child one after another. Not long after, Demon Child's small body was like a sieve, full of holes. "A thing worse than an ant actually dares to hurt me. You wait. Soon your heavenly tiger tribe will be retaliated against by my Mu family. At that time, I will kill everyone in your tribe. I want to suck their blood. I want them to not even have the chance to be ghosts. Just wait for despair." Demon Child grinned again and again, his words carrying an astonishing murderous aura. "You still dare to be arrogant. You like to suck blood, don't you? Well, now I will let you bleed to death." Yan Wei also became fierce, stabbing Demon Child's heart with a knife. "Ah!" Demon Child howled miserably, the pain was unbearable. "Does this feel good? Is it better than drinking other people's blood? Then I'll make you feel better." Yan Wei smiled sinisterly, and the bloody dagger in his hand once again stabbed into Demon Child's heart. It wasn't until the Demon Child's heart was chopped into pieces that Yan Wei stopped. For someone who had reached the War King, a broken heart was no longer fatal. So, Demon Child was still alive and well. Next, Yan Wei grabbed Demon Child's neck again and laughed sinisterly. "Tell me now, is it good?" Of course it's good. Continue, little reptile. Do you think this little trick can make me beg for mercy? You're too naive. Chapter 835. Yan Wei frowned and looked at Qin Feiyong. Use the slave seal to control him first, then deal with him later. Qin Feiyong's face changed, but it was too late to scold him. He hurriedly looked at the mysterious lady. At the same time, hearing Yan Wei's words, the mysterious lady frowned and turned to look at Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong could clearly see a trace of astonishment and a hint of coldness in the mysterious madam's eyes. How do you know the slave seal? The mysterious lady asked. Qin Feiyong was quite angry. Regarding the slave seal, he should have told Yan Wei in advance. He smiled without batting an eyelid. I was lucky. I obtained the cultivation method of the slave seal by chance. Really? Then I'm curious. The slave seal is a secret technique that I created myself. Where did you get it? The mysterious lady said. Self-created. Qin Feiyong's heart skipped a beat. If the slave seal was obtained by the mysterious lady by chance or taught by someone else, he could still have an excuse. But he didn't expect that the mysterious lady created it herself. How could he explain this? The mysterious lady looked at him deeply and said lightly, anyway, it's not very important. If you don't want to answer, then forget it. Qin Feiyong was surprised. Her self-created secret technique was stolen and she didn't pursue the matter? When did this woman become so magnanimous? This wasn't her style. Before Qin Feiyong could react, the mysterious lady took out 2 jade slips and threw them to Qin Feiyong. Then she turned and flew towards the Sky Tiger tribe. Qin Feiyong caught the 2 jade slips with a trace of suspicion in his eyes. But when he focused his mind on the 2 jade slips, his eyes suddenly trembled slightly. These 2 jade slips were the cultivation methods for 2 types of perfect battle arts. He froze. He thought that the mysterious lady might not give him these 2 battle arts because of the slave seal. Who would have thought that she would be so straightforward? Where are you going? After coming back to his senses, Qin Feiyong hurriedly raised his head and looked at the back of the mysterious madam. Whether the demon child is dead or not, the Mu family will not let the Sky Tiger tribe go, so I must take them away. The mysterious lady said without turning her head. Where are you taking them? Qin Feiyong frowned. The mysterious lady said, a place that the Mu family can't find. Of course, you can't find it either. My lord, thank you, but please don't hurt them. Yan Wei was also a little anxious. This woman was too fickle. There was no telling what she would do in the future. The mysterious madam said, whether or not to harm them is entirely up to Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong felt helpless. The meaning of his words was very clear. If he could successfully snatch the 5-colored crystal stone, this woman would not harm Yan Wei's clansmen. On the contrary, if he failed, no one in the Sky Tiger tribe would be able to survive. In other words, the millions of people in the Sky Tiger tribe were the bargaining chips used by the mysterious madam to threaten him. Qin Feiyong asked, then how do I contact you? You don't need to contact me. When you successfully get the 5-colored crystal stone, I will naturally appear. After the mysterious madam finished speaking, she disappeared from the sight of the 2. I'll go take a look. Yan Wei was very worried. He said something to Qin Feiyong and chased after the mysterious madam. 5-colored crystal stone. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed slightly and once again sank his mind into the 2 jade slips. 2 pieces of information poured into his mind. Ha! Qin Feiyong's eyes were immediately filled with a touch of surprise. 2 battle arts. One is called the Heavenly Demon 9 Steps, which is an auxiliary battle art. The other is called the Fury of the Mad God, which is a killing battle art. What surprised Qin Feiyong was this Fury of the Mad God. If he remembered correctly, the White-Eyed Wolf's current battle art seems to be called the Fury of the Mad God. There was only one word missing. He looked at it seriously. He wanted to see what other advantages this Fury of the Mad God had compared to the Fury of the Mad God, apart from the grade. In the end, he found that this Fury of the Mad God was actually a battle art specialized in beasts. Moreover, it had the same effect as the Fury of the Mad God, which was to increase one's combat power through transformation. Could it be that this is specially prepared for the White-Eyed Wolf? Qin Feiyong was a little stunned. Then, he calmed down again and looked at the Heavenly Demon 9 Steps. He didn't know if he didn't look, but when he looked at it, He was shocked. The heavenly demon 9 steps turned out to be a battle art with both auxiliary and killing battle arts. In other words, not only can it increase one's speed, but it also has a terrifying lethality. To put it simply, as long as one mastered the heavenly demon 9 steps, it was equivalent to mastering an auxiliary battle art and a killing battle art at the same time. Qin Feiyong was excited. Such a battle art was as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. It was very rare. He didn't expect that the mysterious madam would give him such a precious battle art. In the future, he would undoubtedly have another trump card. But suddenly, he lowered his head and frowned. He really wanted the heavenly demon 9 steps, but he thought of Yan Wei. This time, the heavenly tiger tribe suffered a disaster all because of him, which made him feel a little guilty. Moreover, Yan Wei was now following him, and it was also necessary to strengthen Yan Wei's strength. Just give it to him. Qin Feiyong let out a long breath, temporarily put away the 2 jade slips, and landed beside the demon child. The demon child was still lying in a pool of blood, seriously injured and dying. His cultivation base was destroyed, and he was no longer a threat to him. Qin Feiyong looked down at him and said lightly, "You should know that others are afraid of your Mu family, but I am not. What do you want to say?" The demon child looked at him suspiciously. Qin Feiyong said, "Tell me, why did you lure me to the Forgotten Continent? Aren't you very smart? Guess it yourself." The demon child joked. Qin Feiyong's eyes were cold, and he grabbed the demon child's neck, twisted it up, and said in a deep voice, "You have to know if I want to kill you, I will not have any scruples. I know that you, Qin Feiyong, are a person who is not afraid of anything. But in this world, you are not the only one who is not afraid of death." The demon child sneered, and his contempt was undisguised. Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows, and his expression calmed down a lot. He said with a faint smile, "I'm sure I've found out some details about your Mu family. Tell me about it?" The demon child looked at Qin Feiyong playfully. "Then please listen carefully. Your Mu family is actually the descendant of Mu Tianyang," Qin Feiyong said, and then he stared at the demon child's expression, not letting go of any details. But in the end, he was disappointed. The demon child looked confused. It seems that the guess that the Mu family is the descendant of Mu Tianyang is not valid. Qin Feiyong muttered, a cold light flashed in his eyes, and his hands began to form seals. Soon, a mark appeared and sank into the top of the demon child's head. "Ah!" The demon child suddenly held his head and howled in pain, roaring, "What did you do to me?" Qin Feiyong said, "Didn't you hear it just now? The seal of slavery." The demon child endured the severe pain and said gloomily, "What is the seal of slavery?" "It controls people's souls. To put it simply, as long as the seal of slavery is formed, you will be my servant in the future." Qin Feiyong said, "Damn it!" The demon child was furious. He suddenly got up and rushed towards Qin Feiyong with a ferocious face. Qin Feiyong shook his head and sneered. If the demon child's cultivation was still there, he would not even dare to get close. But now, this little brat was just a cripple. It would be as easy as playing with mud to deal with him. Just as the demon child approached, Qin Feiyong raised his arm and slapped him directly. Smack! This slap landed solidly on the demon child's little face. He was slapped away on the spot, blood spurting out. A bright red palm print appeared on his face. With a bang, he hit another stone. He saw stars and his body seemed to be falling apart. The soreness was unbearable. But he seemed to be numb. He got up awkwardly and leaned his back against the stone. Like a beast, he stared at Qin Feiyong. If eyes could kill, Qin Feiyong would have died many times over. "What's wrong?" "Not convinced," Qin Feiyong joked. "If it weren't for that stinky woman, would you dare to be so arrogant in front of me?" The demon child said angrily. "What a joke. I dare to scold your great ancestor and second ancestor, let alone a little brat like you. Not convinced, right? Come on, beat me up. I'm just asking for a beating." Qin Feiyong hooked his finger, full of provocation. The demon child exploded with anger. To think that he, a dignified war emperor, had fallen to this point. How sad. "I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Tell me, what is your Mu family's conspiracy?" Qin Feiyong's face darkened. "If you have the ability, don't ask others." Find out for yourself. The demon child sneered. Qin Feiyong immediately moved his mind. The demon child held his head again and screamed in pain. Are you going to say it or not? Qin Feiyong shouted. Do you think that if you control me, I will be at your mercy? Stop dreaming. The demon child roared, his twisted face full of ridicule. Seeing this, Qin Feiyong sighed deeply. This person's temper was too strong. Even if he controlled his soul, it was useless. And such a person certainly couldn't be kept by his side. Without hesitation, he directly erased the demon child's soul. Bang! At that moment, the demon child stopped screaming and fell to the ground dead. Whoosh! At this time, Yan Wei ran over and stopped beside Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong turned to look at him and asked, How is it? I took them all away. Yan Wei nodded, but there was still a trace of worry between his eyebrows. Don't worry. Although that woman is hateful, she still keeps her word. She won't hurt your people. She definitely won't. Qin Feiyong patted him on the shoulder and comforted him with a smile. Yan Wei nodded, glanced at the demon child, frowned and said, Why did you kill him? Keeping him will only be a threat. It's better to kill him. Qin Feiyong said. That's too easy for him. Yan Wei snorted coldly. Then what else do you want? Torture him. It's meaningless. By the way, do you have a perfect battle art? Qin Feiyong said. No. Yan Wei shook his head. Then I'll give you the Heavenly Demon 9 steps. Qin Feiyong took out a jade slip and handed it to Yan Wei. This won't do. It's too precious. Yan Wei hurriedly waved his hand. Take it. It's a little compensation for you. Qin Feiyong smiled and stuffed the jade slip into Yan Wei's hands. Then he sent the fury of the mad god to the castle for the white-eyed wolf to cultivate. Yan Wei checked the jade slip and looked quite excited. He looked at Qin Feiyong and said, Thank you. We're all on the same side. Why are you being so polite? By the way, did you ask that woman for the coordinates of the 9th area? Qin Feiyong laughed. Coordinates? Yan Wei was taken aback and said awkwardly, I'm sorry, I didn't think of that at all. It's okay. We'll fly there. Anyway, with you here, it won't take much time. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly. Yan Wei nodded, put away the jade slip, sat cross-legged, and focused on repairing his sea of qi. Chapter 836. After several hours of traveling, Qin Feiyong suddenly noticed that the temperature was gradually rising. Moreover, the snow on the mountains below was getting less and less. In some places, green vegetation could be clearly seen. Yan Wei said, The temperature is rising, which means that we are about to reach the Flame Mountain Range. Flame Mountain Range? Qin Feiyong was doubtful. The Flame Mountain Range is located between the 8th and 9th regions. It is shrouded in flames all year round and the temperature is very high. Therefore, the surroundings of the Flame Mountain Range will also be affected. Yan Wei explained. Flames? Qin Feiyong was stunned. Yan Wei said, Those flames are very magical. Water can't extinguish them and they will never be extinguished. After a while, a vast mountain range entered Qin Feiyong's line of sight. Sure enough, as Yan Wei said, it was a mountain range burning with flames. Moreover, the fire was extraordinarily big. Waves of fire were like tsunamis in the sea, covering the sky and earth. The mountain peaks that emerged from the waves of fire were also scarlet red. Swish! The two stopped above the edge of the Flame Mountain Range. The temperature here was estimated to be 80 to 90 degrees Celsius. If a mortal came here, they would definitely die in a few breaths. Yan Wei said, I have entered this Flame Mountain Range before. What's inside? Qin Feiyong asked. Yan Wei said, Magma, ferocious beasts, and nothing else. Qin Feiyong said, How strong are the beasts? Yan Wei said, Basically, they are all sacred beasts. Qin Feiyong's heart sank. Don't worry, except for the Beast Emperor in the central region, the other sacred beasts are no match for me. Yan Wei said with a smile. I see. Qin Feiyong breathed a sigh of relief and asked, What kind of beast is the Beast Emperor in the central region? What is its cultivation level? I'm not too sure. I remember that year, when I killed my way to the central region, I suddenly sensed the aura of a beast ahead. At that time, My cultivation level was not weak either. I was a 6-star battle saint. However, the aura of that ferocious beast caused me to feel fear and terror. I felt as if a god of death was lurking before us. At that time, I immediately escaped from the blazing mountain range. Thus, I do not know what that ferocious beast looked like. I'm not sure about his exact cultivation either. Yan Wei said. After hearing this, Qin Feiyong's pupils contracted. Just this aura alone was able to scare away Yan Wei, a 6-star battle saint. How strong was this aura? 7-star? 8-star? Or even a 9-star battle saint? After so many years, although I have already become an 8-star battle saint, its strength must have increased as well. So when we reach the central region, it's better to be careful. Yan Wei said. Qin Feiyong smiled and said, then let's go. As long as it's not an emperor beast, it won't be a threat to us. So confident. Yan Wei stared at him blankly. Suddenly, a wry smile crept onto his face. The young man in front of him had 2 sacred artifacts, a mysterious Chong Shui, and an ancient castle. He indeed had the right to be confident. Phew! Taking a deep breath, Yan Wei led Qin Feiyong into the blazing mountain range at lightning speed. Roar! As soon as they entered the blazing mountain range, a huge ferocious beast roared out from the flames below. It was a male lion that was dozens of meters long. However, it was different from other lions. Its entire body was covered in fur that was as red as fire. Its 2 millstone-sized eyeballs also seemed to be cast from magma. Most importantly, it had 2 fiery red wings on its back. Its cultivation was not weak either. It was a 1-star battle saint. The blazing lion blocked in front of the 2, its eyes flashing fiercely. This. Qin Feiyong looked rather stunned. What's wrong? Yan Wei looked at him in confusion. This is a relic from 10,000 years ago, called the fire-winged lion. The pair of wings on its back can greatly increase its speed. Qin Feiyong said. A relic from 10,000 years ago? Yan Wei was stunned. In the Forgotten Continent, the fire-winged lion may be very common, but in the place where I live, it's very rare and almost extinct. Qin Feiyong said. So it's like that. Yan Wei suddenly understood and laughed. Then do you want to catch one and bring it back? Bring it back? Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled bitterly. The white-eyed wolf and the others had already given him a headache. If another one came, would he still have a peaceful life? Forget it. He didn't want to do this kind of troublesome thing a second time. Looking at Qin Feiyong's expression, Yan Wei couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. Although he didn't get along with everyone for long, he had some understanding of the characters of Wolf King and the other beasts. All of them were restless. To be honest, he still admired Qin Feiyong for being able to tolerate so many beasts by his side. If it were him, he would have chased them away. Roar! The fire-winged lion glanced at the 2 of them and suddenly roared. It spread its wings and pounced toward the 2 of them with a terrifying saint aura. Kill it? Yan Wei asked. Qin Feiyong said. Forget it, just scare it away. Boom. Immediately, Yan Wei's body shook and the aura of an 8-star battle saint surged out. The fire-winged lion's gaze trembled and immediately fled, diving into the fire below and disappearing. Whoosh! The 2 of them continued on their way. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, Yan Wei didn't restrain his saint aura. At the same time, in the 8th district, above the Sky Tiger tribe, whoosh! 2 figures appeared out of thin air. They were 2 old men. One was in purple, with a ruddy complexion and white hair. The other was in white, with a celestial aura. If Qin Feiyong was here, he would definitely recognize them at a glance. They were the Mu family's great ancestor and second ancestor. Didn't the family head say that the little devil is here? Why don't I see him? The old man in purple scanned the Sky Tiger tribe and a trace of suspicion crept into his eyes. No. Not only is the little devil not here, the people of the Sky Tiger tribe have all disappeared. The old man in white's eyes darkened. Disappeared? The old man in purple frowned and swooped down at lightning speed. He entered the Sky Tiger tribe and searched carefully. A moment later, he rushed up to the sky and landed beside the old man in white. He said in a low voice, "There really isn't a single person here. How could this be?" The old man in white looked at the void and said, "Do you feel that there is a remnant of a battle in the void?" The old man in purple was stunned. He closed his eyes and carefully sensed. When he opened his eyes again, there was a piercing murderous intent in his eyes. The old man in white said, "There are obvious traces of the glacier over there. Let's go and take a look." Whoosh! The two of them turned into streaks of light and flew towards the broken glacier. At the same time, an uneasy premonition rose in their hearts. Very soon, the two of them arrived above the glacier. The remnant battle energy here is even more obvious. One of the auras belongs to the little devil. Big brother, do you think something bad happened to the little brat? The old man in purple looked at the old man in white nervously. The old man in white's gaze trembled and he said angrily, "Don't talk nonsense. Although the little devil is not as strong as us, even in the central divine kingdom, I don't think many people can kill him." Yes, yes, yes. The old man in purple nodded repeatedly and said, "The little devil is definitely still alive. I'll send him a message right away." With that said, he took out an image crystal. At the same time, the old man in white also lowered his head and scanned the glacier below carefully. Suddenly, his gaze was fixed on the huge pit. Swoosh! The next moment, the old man in white landed at the bottom of the huge pit. He waved his sleeves and with a gust of wind, the snowflakes on the ground flew everywhere. A child covered in blood entered his line of sight. How could this be? The old man in white's expression changed drastically and he staggered a few steps back. His old face was full of disbelief. Because this child was the little devil they were looking for. Demon child. Little devil. The old man in purple standing high in the sky also saw demon child and quickly rushed down to check on him. Dead. At that moment, the old man in purple also collapsed on the ground in grief. Who is it? Suddenly, the old man in purple roared to the sky, his hair standing on end as his aura erupted. Boom! Crack! With a loud sound, everything within a radius of hundreds of miles turned into ashes in an instant. The old man in white closed his eyes in pain. Suddenly, he raised his eyebrows and pondered for a moment. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and said, "I know who it is." Who? The old man in purple said, "The remnant battle energy and the aura of that woman should be her. If I'm not wrong, it must be Yan Wei and Qin Fei Yong who first found out that the little devil was in the Sky Tiger tribe. Then they went to find this woman for help and moved the people of the Sky Tiger tribe. Otherwise, the people of this tribe wouldn't have all disappeared." The old man in white said, "Damn it! Big brother, you must kill them and avenge the little devil." The old man in purple roared, "Don't worry, they definitely can't run away. I guess that Qin Fei Yong should have gone to the Central Divine Kingdom, and there is only one entrance to the Central Divine Kingdom. I'll bring the little devil back to bury him. You go to the entrance of the 9th area immediately and block them." The old man in white said. The old man in purple said, "What if Qin Fei Yong didn't go to the Central Divine Kingdom? I've also considered this point. When I return to the clan, I'll immediately ask the patriarch to send people to conduct a carpet search of the 9 areas. In short, this time, if I don't catch this little bastard, I swear I'm not human." The old man in white said gloomily. After saying that, he opened a portal and strode away. "Qin Fei Yong, just you wait, when you're no longer useful, I'll personally chop you into pieces." Chapter 837. 5 days later. The Flame Mountain Range. With Yan Wei, an 8-star battle saint, Qin Fei Yong entered the central area unimpeded. After entering the central area, Yan Wei's expression became serious. After advancing for a distance, he turned to Qin Fei Yong and asked, "Do you want to stop and prepare?" "No need." Qin Fei Yong shook his head. But the next moment, he raised his eyebrows slightly and looked forward. All of a sudden, he felt that something in front of him seemed to be calling him, giving him an inexplicable sense of familiarity. How could this be? He muttered to himself. "What's wrong?" Yan Wei looked at him suspiciously. "Nothing." Qin Fei Yong waved his hand and didn't think too much about it. He just thought that it was an illusion. The two of them continued to advance. However, Yan Wei obviously slowed down and his expression was full of vigilance. The surprise on Qin Fei Yong's face became more and more intense. As they went deeper and deeper, the inexplicable sense of familiarity didn't disappear. Instead, it became stronger. This was obviously no longer an illusion. But why was it like this? One had to know that it was his first time entering the Flame Mountain range. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be anything that could make him feel familiar. Suddenly, Yan Wei seemed to have realized something. He suddenly braked and stopped in the void. He raised his hand and pointed to the sky. Qin Feiyong was stunned. He looked up and his eyes were full of surprise. He saw that in the distant sky, there were suddenly patches of dark clouds emerging. As soon as the dark clouds appeared, they spread rapidly in all directions like a plague. In less than 5 breaths, the sky within a radius of dozens of miles became pitch black. What's going on? The two of them were dumbfounded. The dark clouds rolled and surged in the sky. Darkness covered the earth, making everything look extremely dim. But the strange thing was that this place was unusually quiet at this moment. Not only was there no wind, even the sound of insects was muffled. It was so quiet that it was frightening. Yan Wei gulped and transmitted his voice. We can't go any further. Qin Feiyong remained silent. Frankly speaking, this strange phenomenon made him a little scared. However, the sense of intimacy that came from the depths of his heart made him impatient to go and take a look. Don't be afraid. Let's continue. If we really encounter any danger, we can just hide in the castle. After much hesitation, Qin Feiyong finally decided to take a look. Yan Wei raised his eyebrows and pondered for a moment before he suddenly gritted his teeth and nodded. All right, I'll listen to you. Whoosh. However, just as the two of them took a step forward, a beam of light shot over from the distant void like a bolt of lightning. Someone's here. Qin Feiyong's pupils shrank and he hurriedly took out 2 illusory form pills. Yan Wei took one and turned into a white-haired old man. Qin Feiyong also took one and changed his appearance into a thin blue-haired young man. Now, not only the 9 regions, but also the people of the Central Divine Kingdom knew him. Moreover, the Pill Pagoda and the Mu family were also looking for him. Therefore, in order to avoid some unnecessary trouble, it was better to change his appearance. After a few breaths, the light stopped in the void in front of Qin Feiyong and Yan Wei. This person was about 1.8 meters tall and thin. He wore a white robe that was spotless, but his face was covered by a black mask. His face could not be seen clearly. However, from his body shape and eyes, it was not difficult to tell that this was a man. Qin Feiyong and Yan Wei sized up this uninvited guest. Suddenly, Yan Wei took a step forward and protected Qin Feiyong behind him. He transmitted his voice. He's very strong. I can't see through his cultivation. What? Qin Feiyong was shocked. Yan Wei was an 8-star battle saint. If even he could not see through his cultivation, didn't it mean that this person in front of him was at least a 9-star battle saint or even higher? At the same time, the masked man was also observing Qin Feiyong and Yan Wei. His black gem-like eyes were suffused with a clear cold light. Who are you? Suddenly, the masked man asked. His voice was slightly hoarse and his tone was somewhat cold. How should I answer? Yan Wei asked secretly. Qin Feiyong said, just say that we are master and disciple. Yan Wei's eyes flashed. He cupped his hands and smiled at the masked man. I'm Wei Yan. Nice to meet you, brother. Wei Yan. The masked man pondered and suddenly looked at Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong immediately shrank his neck and hid behind Yan Wei. He did not dare to raise his head, showing a very timid look. This is my disciple, Lin Fan. He's a little timid. Please don't mind him. Yan Wei hurriedly said. He then turned to Qin Feiyong and shouted with a straight face. Lin Fan, hurry up and salute this senior. Qin Feiyong's body trembled. He slowly walked out from behind Yan Wei and said timidly, Junior Lin Fan greet senior. Seeing this, a trace of disdain appeared in the masked man's eyes. He ignored Qin Feiyong and looked at Yan Wei. Where are you from? What's your purpose in entering the Flame Mountain range? Yan Wei said, we are rogue cultivators in the 8th district. We want to go to the 9th district. Rogue cultivators? The masked man was surprised. He could see through Yan Wei's cultivation at a glance. It was much more difficult for a rogue cultivator to cultivate to an 8-star battle saint than others. It seemed that this pair of master and disciple were quite talented. The masked man asked, then do you know where this place is? Yan Wei shook his head and said, It's our first time entering the Flame Mountain range, so we're not sure. Is that so? The masked man asked, his eyes flashing with a fierce light. Yes. Yan Wei hurriedly nodded. I don't think you have the guts to lie. The masked man smiled disdainfully and said, This is the central district of the Flame Mountain range. There is a beast emperor here with terrifying strength. I advise you to take a detour. Yan Wei was shocked. How strong? Very strong. Anyway, you're no match for it. The masked man said coldly. This. Yan Wei revealed a very surprised look. At the same time, Qin Feiyong, who lowered his head and remained silent, also had a trace of suspicion in his eyes. Why did this man advise them to take a detour? He would not believe that there was such a good person in the world. Could it be? Suddenly, his eyes flashed. Could it be related to the dark clouds? Faster than words could tell. Thinking of this, Qin Feiyong immediately sent a sound transmission to Yan Wei. Tell him that we don't want to take a detour. All right. Yan Wei secretly replied, looked at the masked man and said, Thank you for your kindness, brother, but we have already been in the Flame Mountain range for 2 months. If we take a detour now, we will definitely waste a lot of time, so, bang. However, without waiting for Yan Wei to finish speaking, the masked man suddenly released a terrifying aura. Yan Wei's eyes trembled and hurriedly said, Brother, what do you mean by this? Since you don't want to take a detour, then I can only send you to hell. The masked man said coldly. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed, and he sent a sound transmission. Quickly tell him that we'll take a detour. Hearing this, Yan Wei was quite angry. One moment he said that he didn't want to take a detour, and the next moment he said that he wanted to take a detour. What was this kid thinking? Bang! The masked man did not say any more nonsense. That terrifying aura turned into an invisible giant wave, pouncing towards Qin Feiyong. Don't. We'll take a detour right away. Yan Wei quivered, hurriedly rolled up Qin Feiyong, turned around and rushed to the left. The masked man did not chase, but coldly stared at the backs of the two. Humph, you don't know what you're talking about. Until Qin Feiyong disappeared, the masked man snorted disdainfully, withdrew his gaze, turned around and flew into the depths. At the same time, above a crimson giant peak, Qin Feiyong swept past. Qin Feiyong turned his head and looked behind. Seeing that the masked man did not follow, he stretched out his hand and said, Stop. What's wrong? Yan Wei slammed on the brakes, stopped in the void, and turned his head to look at Qin Feiyong in confusion. Qin Feiyong said with a faint smile, I don't really plan to take a detour. Yan Wei was slightly stunned, and asked suspiciously, Then what do you want to do? How's that person's strength? Qin Feiyong did not answer, but asked instead. Yan Wei said in a low voice, very strong. According to my judgment, he should be a battle emperor. Yes. Although he did not release his emperor's aura, judging from his aura, his cultivation is definitely above a battle saint. Let me ask you again, why would a battle emperor be in the central area of the Flame Mountain range? And why would he stop us from moving forward? Qin Feiyong said. Why? Yan Wei asked. Very simple. There must be some rare treasure in the depths of the mountain range. Qin Feiyong said, his eyes shining. Rare treasure? Yan Wei's eyes trembled and said, Are you sure? Yes. Qin Feiyong nodded and said, Actually, just now, I asked you to say that we don't want to take a detour, because I wanted to see his reaction. So that's how it is. Yan Wei came to a realization, and shook his head with a smile. You're really a little fox, but isn't it too presumptuous to be sure that there's a rare treasure in the depths of the mountain range? No. There are traces that can be traced. Qin Feiyong shook his head. Traceable? Yan Wei was stunned. Look, why are there suddenly dark clouds in the sky? I've read some ancient books, and there are some related records. Wherever a rare treasure is born, there will be a strange phenomenon. Qin Feiyong said. Really? Yan Wei was still skeptical. Qin Feiyong was very helpless as he said, Hearsay may be false, but seeing is believing. Let's go and take a look. Okay. If there's really a rare treasure, then this trip is worth the risk. Yan Wei nodded, withdrew his aura, and led Qin Feiyong into the sea of fire below. The waves of fire surged and instantly swallowed the two. However, These flames were only ordinary flames. One of them was an 8-star war saint, while the other was an 8-star war master. Ordinary flames couldn't hurt them at all. Beneath the flames was all magma, bubbling and surging with heat waves. The two of them flew close to the magma, restraining their auras to the extreme. About a few hundred breaths passed. Qin Feiyang and Qin Feiyang suddenly sensed more than 10 auras high up in the sky in front of them. These auras were all extremely powerful. Furthermore, there was one aura that the two of them were very familiar with. It was the masked man. Could it be that he's not the only one? Yan Wei was bewildered. Don't make a sound. Qin Feiyang made a silent gesture and slowly rose into the air. However, he did not leave the sea of fire and only stuck out half of his head. Immediately, he saw many figures standing upright in the air above him. There were a total of 15 people, and their auras were all unfathomable. Moreover, every one of them wore a black mask on their faces, making them look extremely mysterious. Chapter 838. So many people? Yan Wei was shocked. Qin Feiyang sent a sound transmission. How are their cultivations? Yan Wei observed carefully for a moment and said in a deep voice, Don't scare me, they are all war emperors. Qin Feiyang turned pale with fright. 15 battle emperors. This was too terrifying. Swoosh. Qin Feiyang's gaze went past the 15 people and looked even deeper. To actually attract so many war emperors, what exactly was inside? Whoosh. Suddenly, a figure flew out from the depths and landed in front of the 15 people. This person had a head of white hair and was also wearing a black mask. However, from his wrinkled hands, it was not hard to tell that he was an old man. Greetings, Elder Wu. The 15 people bowed respectfully. Elder Wu nodded and asked, Who was it that barged into this place? It's a pair of master and disciple. The masked man who had stopped Qin Feiyang earlier stood out and said, What's their name? How's their cultivation? Elder Wu asked. Master is Wei Yan, an 8-star battle saint. Disciple is Lin Fan, an 8-star battle sect. They are both rogue cultivators. The masked man said. Elder Wu said, Then why did they enter the Flame Mountain range? The masked man said, That Wei Yan said that they want to go to the 9th area. I have already told them to take a detour. Well done. At this time, we must not let anyone barge in and ruin young master's good deed. If you meet such people again, don't try to persuade them. Just kill them. Elder Wu instructed, filled with a murderous aura. Understood. The 15 people bowed and replied. Elder Wu added, In addition, pay attention to the sea of fire below. Don't let anyone sneak in. Yes. The 15 people nodded. Swoosh. Elder Wu immediately turned around and quickly disappeared into the depths. Sea of fire. After watching Elder Wu leave, the 15 people lowered their heads and scanned the sea of fire below. As for Qin Feiyang and Elder Wu, they had already sunk to the bottom of the sea of fire when Elder Wu had instructed the 15 people to pay attention to the sea of fire below. Therefore, the 15 people did not discover them. However, just as the two of them were about to continue forward, a sudden change occurred. Streaks of dazzling battle chi descended from the sky and entered the sea of fire, forming a barrier not far in front of them. The barrier went from the ground to the clouds, like a natural moat. Looking at the barrier, Qin Feiyang's face sank. This was obviously the doing of those 15 people. This was equivalent to cutting off the path ahead. This was because as soon as they touched the barrier, the 15 people would immediately sense it. What should we do? Yan Wei asked. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said in a low voice, Let's go back first. Whoosh. Yan Wei immediately turned around and led Qin Feiyang back the way they came. Very soon, they stayed away from the 15 people. The two of them flew out of the sea of fire one after another. They stood in the void and looked ahead. Yan Wei said, It seems like it's just as you guessed. A rare treasure has appeared in the depths. Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, Even if there is a rare treasure, so what? We will only have a chance if we can sneak in. Yan Wei pondered for a while and said, Why don't we try another direction? I don't think it will work. Because from their cautious attitude, it's not difficult to infer that there should be people guarding the other directions. Qin Feiyang said. Yan Wei said, This is just your guess. We will only know if there is one or not. Okay, let's go and have a look. Qin Feiyang nodded. It could be seen that Yan Wei did not want to give up just like that. Frankly speaking, he did not want to give up either. Because that inexplicable sense of intimacy had been pervading his heart and had not dissipated. Therefore, he hoped to find a chance in the other directions. However, things did not go as he wished. After 4 hours of circling around, the two of them still couldn't find an opportunity. Because as Qin Feiyang expected, there were guards in all directions. Moreover, according to Qin Feiyang's calculations, there were more than 100 people in all directions. They were all wearing masks and were extremely mysterious. What was even more ridiculous was that these people were all war king. They surrounded the central area, and their battle chi had turned into a barrier, sealing off all the places. It could be said that it was airtight. At this moment, Qin Feiyang stood in the air above a scarlet-red mountain peak, their faces full of worry. From the looks of the current situation, it was already certain that a rare treasure had appeared inside. Otherwise, the other party wouldn't have used such a powerful lineup and had such a tight defense. But it was also because of this that it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens for them to sneak in. Yan Wei frowned. Who do you think they are? When he first saw the 15 people, he thought that they were all in formation. But he didn't expect that there was actually a young master. In other words, these 100 War King S were all followers of this person. To use so many War King S at once, this young master's identity was definitely not simple. Qin Feiyang asked, could it be someone from the 9th region? Impossible. Although I've never been to the 9th region, I can imagine that no tribe can have so many War King S. Yan Wei shook his head. In that case, these people should be from a certain force in the Central Divine Kingdom. Qin Feiyang muttered. Central Divine Kingdom. Yan Wei's gaze trembled. If that was really the case, then he would have to carefully consider whether he should get involved in this mess or not. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and said, how strong is that Elder Wu? Yan Wei thought for a moment and said, looking at his aura, he should be stronger than the others. Then there's nothing we can do. Qin Feiyang sighed, feeling weak both physically and mentally. Those 100 or so masked men were not something he could deal with, not to mention the even stronger Elder Wu. Yan Wei was startled and said, you're giving up just like that? Then what else do you want? Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. Life is more important than anything, let's go. Yan Wei looked at the central region, sighed deeply, and left with Qin Feiyang. Woo-woo. But at this moment, in the sky, a gust of wind suddenly rose. The whistling sound of the wind was like thunder, resounding through heaven and earth. Yan Wei immediately stopped. The two of them looked up, their eyes full of surprise. In the sky, dark clouds were rolling, as if they could topple mountains and overturn seas. Even within the dark clouds, one could faintly catch traces of lightning arcs that were faintly discernible. What's going on? Yan Wei was surprised. Qin Feiyang shook his head, unable to understand. Suddenly, somewhere in the distant sky, a vortex gradually appeared. As soon as the vortex appeared, the wind in the sky became more and more terrifying. Moreover, it was still rapidly expanding and growing bigger. Qin Feiyang stood in the air like a small boat in the middle of a vast ocean, rocking back and forth. Even when the wind blew, there was a tingling sensation on his skin. Could this be? He stared at the vortex, and a terrifying thought climbed up in his mind. Whoosh! Suddenly, he looked down. Right below the whirlpool, there was a huge mountain. The giant mountain was tens of thousands of feet high, completely red, as if it was cast from magma, and exuded a majestic aura. Could the treasure be on the top of the mountain? Yan Wei was surprised. Qin Feiyang did not say anything, but his eyes were shining brightly. Boom! All of a sudden, a loud sound exploded in the sky, like the 9th heaven divine thunder, shaking Qin Feiyang's blood and qi. Even Yan Wei's face was a little pale. What's that? Yan Wei's eyes were full of shock. Thunder! Qin Feiyang said word by word. Yan Wei's face was full of disbelief. How could thunder be so terrifying? Whoosh! Qin Feiyang suddenly raised his head and looked at the vortex again. He saw that in the vortex, the electric arcs were no longer faintly discernible, but completely visible. There were tens of thousands of electric arcs, like small snakes, crazily moving in the dark clouds, emitting a dazzling light. Just as I expected, retreat. Qin Feiyong whispered to Yan Wei, and quickly retreated. Seeing this, Yan Wei was stunned, and also retreated with Qin Feiyong, and said in surprise, "What's going on?" "Heavenly tribulation," Qin Feiyong said in a deep voice. "What?" Yan Wei raised his head and looked at the vortex, his eyes full of horror. "I have read countless ancient books, and one of them clearly recorded information about the heavenly tribulation. Every living thing in the world will face the heavenly tribulation when they become gods. If they succeed, they will become gods and control everything in the world. But if they fail, they will be destroyed, and they won't even have the chance to be reincarnated," Qin Feiyong said. Yan Wei said, "You mean there is no treasure at all, but someone is going through the heavenly tribulation on the mountain peak?" Qin Feiyong nodded. But suddenly, as if he thought of something, his eyes trembled and he shook his head. "No, this is not a heavenly tribulation." Yan Wei was stunned and said, "If it's not a heavenly tribulation, then what is it?" According to the ancient books, when a heavenly tribulation descends, the tribulation clouds are usually golden. But now the tribulation clouds are dark clouds, which doesn't match the information recorded in the ancient books. "Is the information recorded in the ancient books wrong?" Qin Feiyong frowned, and his eyes were full of confusion. During the conversation, the size of the vortex was already tens of thousands of feet. Inside, electric arcs flashed, and the light was boundless. From afar, the vortex looked like a bright moon. "Although I don't know what's going on, this is definitely a heavenly tribulation. The power of a heavenly tribulation is enough to wipe out any living thing. Let's continue to retreat," Qin Feiyong said. Whoosh! The two retreated tens of thousands of feet again, and stood on a mountain peak, looking at the vortex in the sky. Time passed breath by breath. About 100 breaths later, more than a dozen figures rushed over like lightning. It was the mysterious masked men. Qin Feiyong's eyes darkened, and said, "We can't be discovered by them. Continue to retreat." Yan Wei waved his hand, turned around, and rushed back with Qin Feiyong. Soon, the masked men came to the mountain peak where Qin Feiyong and Li Tianlan had stopped. Glancing around, the masked men landed on the mountain peak one after another. At the same time, Qin Feiyong and Li Tianlan also restrained their aura and landed on a mountain peak half a mile behind. Yan Wei looked up at the vortex and said suspiciously, "It's been so long, why hasn't the heavenly tribulation appeared yet?" "Don't worry. It's just brewing now, and it will appear soon," Qin Feiyong said. Before he finished speaking, a bright flame suddenly rushed out from the top of the giant peak directly below the vortex. Boom! Crack! In the sky, thunder suddenly burst out. Chapter 839. How terrifying! The might of the heavens was vast and mighty, intimidating all living things. Qin Feiyong and Yan Wei could not help but tremble both physically and mentally. Even those masked men revealed looks of fear on their faces. What exactly is it? Qin Feiyong looked at the flames. The appearance of the heavenly tribulation was definitely related to the flames. Crack! All of a sudden, a resplendent bolt of lightning descended from the sky, heading straight for the peak of the mountain. It was like the light of dawn in the darkness, shining in all directions. Roar! At the same time, on the summit of the mountain, a loud and clear beast roar sounded, filled with a great sense of majesty. Qin Feiyong's expression froze. It was actually a vicious beast undergoing tribulation? He turned to look at Yan Wei and said, "Could it be the beast emperor you were talking about?" "Impossible. That beast emperor is indeed very strong, but I'm sure that when I first came here, its cultivation would not surpass the war king." Yan Wei decisively rejected. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the lightning struck the peak of the mountain. The entire mountain was instantly shattered. At the same time that the mountain was shattered, a vicious beast entered Qin Feiyong's line of sight. It was a fiery red vicious beast. Its body was not big, about 3 to 4 meters long. It looked like a lion, its entire body covered in flames, but there were 2 fiery red wings on its back. "Isn't this a fire-winged lion?" Yan Wei's eyes widened. Along the way, they had encountered countless fire-winged lions. Although this fire-winged lion was much smaller than the other fire-winged lions, it was indeed a fire-winged lion. "I think I've seen it before. Furthermore, It's the one that gives me a sense of familiarity. Qin Feiyang whispered. Yan Wei was startled and asked in surprise. Isn't this your first time in the Flame Mountain range? How could you have seen it before? I don't know either. Anyway, I just feel an inexplicable sense of familiarity, as if I know it. Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked at the fire-winged lion, his eyes filled with confusion. He was sure that he had never seen this fire-winged lion before. But why did he have such a feeling? Roar! After being bombarded by the heavenly tribulation, the fire-winged lion was covered in blood. However, its bell-like eyes contained an unyielding will, as well as a trace of ridicule and disdain. It gave people the feeling that it was looking down on heaven's might. Crack! Along with a loud rumble, the second god's trial landed. Lightning shot in all directions and lit up the sky. However, not only did the flame-winged lion not dodge, it instead spread its wings and took the initiative to meet the attack. A terrifying, ferocious aura spread out in all directions, causing everyone to raise their eyebrows. Boom! The two collided violently like comets. Roar! The flame-winged lion let out a pained howl as its body cracked open. Blood sprayed into the air as it was blasted down into the mountain range below. Qin Feiyang's pupils contracted. The power of the heavenly tribulation was too terrifying. Even though the fire-winged lion appeared to be unstoppable, there was no way it could withstand it. How strong is it? He looked at Yan Wei and asked. According to my deduction, it should be a 2- or 3-star combat emperor. Yan Wei said. Qin Feiyang said in a low voice, then it definitely won't be able to withstand it. Yan Wei frowned and said, let's not talk about whether it can withstand it or not. Let's talk about why it's undergoing the heavenly tribulation first. I don't know. Qin Feiyang shook his head. He was also puzzled. Logically speaking, regardless of whether it was a beast or a human, the heavenly tribulation would only descend when they were breaking through to the divine war realm. However, the fire-winged lion's cultivation was obviously not enough. Roar! In the blink of an eye, the fire-winged lion that was blasted into the mountain range below rushed up into the sky and roared at the sky, provoking heaven's might. Boom! Crack! It seemed that its provocation had really angered heaven's might. The third heavenly tribulation quickly descended. Moreover, whether it was the speed or the movement, it was more terrifying than the previous 2 heavenly tribulations. Boom! The heavenly tribulation was aggressive and arrived in an instant, striking its body fiercely. The 2 wings on its back broke on the spot and flesh and blood splattered everywhere. The fire-winged lion was once again blasted down. In an instant. In this place, the mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Magma erupted, and the land within a radius of several miles was instantly razed to the ground. Whiz! At the same time, the white-haired old man known as Old Wu flew over with a purple-clothed youth. Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned as he looked at the youth from afar. That person was about 25 or 26 years old. He had a tall figure and an imposing appearance. However, at the moment, he was also in a sorry state. Yan Wei said in a low voice, the young master that those masked men are talking about should be him. 9-star war sect is not simple. Qin Feiyang muttered. Yan Wei said, do you think his goal is this fire-winged lion? It's possible. Qin Feiyang nodded. While the two were talking, Old Wu and the purple-clothed youth had already landed in front of the masked men. Greetings, young master. The masked men hurriedly bowed. The purple-clothed youth nodded and lowered his head to look at the fire-winged lion lying in the magma. At this moment, the fire-winged lion's wings were broken and its body was in tatters. It was on the verge of death and could be said to be in imminent danger. However, the heavenly tribulation did not show any mercy. The 4th bolt of heavenly thunder descended from the sky, roaring through the sky as it crazily struck towards the fire-winged lion. Roar! Suddenly, the fire-winged lion roared and rushed into the air. At the same time, the ground below cracked, and a palm-sized flame rushed out from a crack. Pill fire! Yan Wei glared at him. It's not a pill fire. Qin Feiyang shook his head. He understood pill fire very well. Pill fire had a very special aura. And this cluster of flames did not have the aura of a pill fire. Hurry up and snatch it. At the same time, the purple-clothed youth shouted. A strong desire and greed emerged in his eyes. Whiz! Old Wu immediately rushed towards the flames like lightning. You're courting death. The fire-winged lion also noticed Old Wu at the first moment, and its eyes were filled with an astonishing ferocious light. Boom! Suddenly, a flame rushed out of its body and pounced towards Old Wu with an overwhelming force. If it's not a pill fire, what are they snatching? Yan Wei was surprised. Qin Feiyong was also puzzled. What were these people trying to do? Courting death. Old Wu sneered and said, "If it weren't for my young master liking you, I would have killed you long ago." As he spoke, he raised his hand and waved. The battle chi in his palm surged and turned into a torrent that surged forward. Boom! That flame was annihilated on the spot. Puff! The fire-winged lion spat out a mouthful of blood and its aura became even weaker. "Since you don't want to obey, we can only snatch your heart fire. As long as we get it, let's see how you can jump around." Old Wu was unforgiving. He stepped into the air and his old hand grabbed at the heart fire like an eagle's claw. His entire person was like a sharp sword, sharp and threatening. Seeing that Qin Feiyong was indifferent, Yan Wei frowned and said, "Aren't you going to help it?" "How can I help?" Qin Feiyong asked. This fire-winged lion gave him an inexplicable sense of familiarity. He did want to help. But with his little strength, how could he help? Yan Wei's eyes flashed and he said in a deep voice, "Give me one of those ribs." "What do you want to do?" Qin Feiyong was stunned and asked. "According to my observation, other than Old Wu, the other masked men's cultivations are basically at the 1-star combat emperor level. I want to take a gamble." Yan Wei said. "Are you sure?" Qin Feiyong frowned. Yan Wei nodded. Qin Feiyong did not hesitate and took out a rib and handed it to Yan Wei. Yan Wei grabbed the rib and hid it in his sleeve. Without hesitation, he used the Heavenly Demon's 9 steps and rushed towards the mountain peak where the purple-clothed youth was. These days, while they were on the road, Yan Wei was also cultivating the Heavenly Demon's 9 steps. Although he was not completely proficient in it, he could still unleash half of its power. The two mountain peaks were only half a mile apart. For Yan Wei, who was moving at full speed, it only took a few breaths of time. But at the same time, the masked men also sensed Yan Wei's aura. "You guys didn't leave?" one of the masked men said in surprise. Obviously. He was the one who intercepted Qin Feiyong and the other two. Yan Wei did not answer. His eyes filled with a sharp light. "You don't know life from death." The masked man's gaze turned cold. He turned around and took a step forward, rushing towards Yan Wei. In that instant, the two of them met in the sky. "Do you really think I'm afraid of you?" Yan Wei laughed coldly. The rib that was hidden in his sleeve fiercely knocked on the masked man's head. Ah! The masked man let out a blood-curdling scream and was sent flying on the spot. His skull was shattered, and several cracks appeared on his head as blood gushed out. However, he was not dead, only injured. But even so, Yan Wei was overjoyed. With full confidence, he rushed straight towards the purple-clothed youth. However, the purple-clothed youth and the other masked men were shocked by the rib. Whose rib was that? It actually had such a terrifying power? Just as they were in a daze, Yan Wei landed on the mountain peak and grabbed the purple-clothed youth's neck. At the same time, Old Wu also grabbed the cluster of heart fire. The fourth heavenly tribulation also struck the fire-winged lion. Boom! The fire-winged lion was once again blasted down, and the magma splashed hundreds of feet high. After snatching the heart fire of the fire-winged lion, Old Wu immediately turned to look at Yan Wei. His eyes gloomy and frightening, and said, "Do you know who you are provoking now?" "I don't know." "I don't want to know either," Yan Wei said indifferently. "You will die. Not only will you die, your family, your friends, they will all die because of your stupid actions." The purple-clothed youth was not worried at all. He coldly stared at Yan Wei, as if looking at an ant, full of contempt. "Is that so?" Qin Feiyong took a step forward, walked towards the mountain peak, and said with a faint smile, "Even if we will die, you will definitely die in front of us." The purple-clothed youth's pupils shrank, and he looked at Qin Feiyong with a trace of suspicion in his eyes. "Little bastard, I really regret not killing you at that time." At this time, the masked man who was sent flying roared and rushed towards Qin Feiyong with a murderous aura. "Do you dare to touch him?" Yan Wei's face turned cold, and the big hand that grabbed the purple-clothed youth's neck squeezed hard. Crack! A crisp sound of something shattering could be heard. The masked man's face changed, and he quickly stopped. It's not that I look down on you, but even if you want to kill us, you can't do it. Qin Feiyong glanced at the masked man contemptuously, and landed on the mountain peak, standing beside Yan Wei. Roar! The fire-winged lion let out a roar and dragged its wounded body into the sky. When it saw Qin Feiyong, it could not help but be stunned. It also felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity in its heart. Whoosh! But it did not think too much. Chapter 840. Qin Feiyong looked at the fire-winged lion. From its eyes, it was not difficult to see that this so-called heart fire was extremely important to it. Swish! He suddenly turned his head and looked at Old Wu. Return the heart fire to it immediately, or I will kill your young master. You dare! Old Wu shouted angrily, his voice stern. Those masked men also surrounded Qin Feiyong and Old Wu, their eyes revealing a fierce light. You don't dare? Qin Feiyong chuckled, took out an ordinary dagger, and gently rubbed the blade. Abruptly, with a wave of his hand, he directly cut off the right arm of the young man in purple. Blood immediately gushed out. The young man in purple was also in so much pain that his face twisted. Then, Qin Feiyong raised his head and grinned at Old Wu, saying, "Don't challenge my patience." Old Wu said word by word, suppressing his voice. "You are borrowing courage from the heavens, do you know that? Are you threatening me? I'm sorry, I'm afraid of everything, but I'm not afraid of threats." Qin Feiyong smiled faintly, raised his arm, and cut off the left arm of the young man in purple. Ah! The young man in purple couldn't help but howl miserably. However, Old Wu still had no intention of returning the heart fire. Although Qin Feiyong cut off the arms of the young man in purple, he firmly believed that Qin Feiyong would never dare to kill him. Qin Feiyong, of course, could also see what Old Wu was thinking. He smiled faintly and said, "I don't know if you have heard of the Mu family of the Central Divine Kingdom?" Mu family. Old Wu's eyes trembled. The group of masked men also had a hint of fear in their eyes. Qin Feiyong glanced at them one by one, pursed his lips and smiled. "I even dare to kill the demon child, let alone you?" "What? The demon child was killed by you?" Old Wu's face changed. "You still don't know? Then you have to ask around." Qin Feiyong laughed. "That's impossible. The demon child is second only to the great ancestor and the second ancestor in the Mu family. With your strength, you can't kill him." Old Wu shook his head in disbelief. "It seems that you know a lot about the Mu family. So, you should be from the Central Divine Kingdom. And his status in the Central Divine Kingdom is not ordinary. However, your family background is useless to me," Qin Feiyong said lightly. Old Wu looked at Qin Feiyong in surprise. Suddenly, he thought of something and said in surprise, "Could it be that you are?" Qin Feiyong nodded and said, "Yes, I am Qin Feiyong." He took out a face-restoring pill and threw it into his mouth. Soon, his true appearance was restored. "It's really you." Everyone was dumbfounded. "My patience has its limits. I'll ask you one last time. Do you want to return the heart fire?" Qin Feiyong waved his hand and the dagger poked the purple youth's crotch. The purple youth's body and mind tightened. A cold current surged into his heart. He quickly shouted, "Return the heart fire to him." In fact, Old Wu didn't dare to hesitate anymore. Although he had never seen Qin Feiyong before, he had heard about what Qin Feiyong had done in various major regions. Even Qin Feiyong's notoriety had spread throughout the Central Divine Kingdom. This was a man who was not afraid of anything. As long as he said it, he would be able to do it. With a wave of his hand, the heart fire turned into a stream of light and flew toward the fire-winged lion. Crack! At the same time, the fifth tribulation also fell. The fire-winged lion hurriedly rushed over and swallowed the heart fire. At that moment, a magical scene appeared. The injuries on its body were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even the broken wings on its back were quickly regenerating. When the fifth tribulation fell, its injuries were basically healed. It was full of energy again and took the initiative to face the tribulation with high fighting spirit. Qin Feiyong was dumbfounded. Such a serious injury was actually healed so quickly. Wasn't this a little too ridiculous? Old Wu glanced at the fire-winged lion and looked at Qin Feiyong gloomily. "Can you let go of the young master now? Do you think I'm stupid? If I let him go now, won't you kill me right away?" Qin Feiyang looked at him with disdain and secretly told Yan Wei, "Be careful, don't let them take him away." "Okay." Yan Wei nodded. Old Wu raised his eyebrows and didn't say anything more. He paid close attention to Qin Feiyang and Old Wu. As long as there was a chance, he would definitely take action. Boom! The fire-winged lion and the fifth tribulation met in the sky. There was no suspense. The fire-winged lion was blasted down again. But after swallowing the heart fire, the fire-winged lion seemed to have transformed into an unkillable cockroach. Every time it was blasted down, it would quickly stand up tenaciously. The sixth, the seventh, the eighth. After 100 breaths of time, the fire-winged lion had already withstood the ninth tribulation. "It's finally over," Qin Feiyang muttered. According to the ancient records, every living being's divine tribulation basically only had 9 heavenly tribulations. However, to Qin Feiyang's surprise, not only did the tribulation clouds in the sky not dissipate, they actually sent down the 10th tribulation. How is this possible? His eyes widened in anger. Could it be, suddenly? He seemed to have thought of something, and his eyes shone brightly. There were basically 9 divine tribulations. But there were some special heavenly tribulations that were more than divine tribulations. Among them, there was a kind of heavenly tribulation called Nirvana Divine Tribulation. And this kind of Nirvana Divine Tribulation would only appear under special circumstances. That was the carp leaping over the dragon gate, bloodline returning to its ancestors. In the world, there were certain ferocious beasts that inherited the bloodline power of divine beasts. And once these bloodline powers showed signs of returning to their ancestors, the Nirvana Divine Tribulation would descend. For example, the black dragon snake had the bloodline power of a true dragon in its body. If one day, it transformed into a true divine dragon, it would also face the baptism of the Nirvana Divine Tribulation. In other words, the fire-winged lion in front of him might have the bloodline power of a certain divine beast flowing in its body. Or perhaps, it had once fused with the blood of a certain divine beast by chance. And at this moment it was transforming. Crack! The 10th tribulation poured down, emitting a heavenly might that was almost the sum of the previous 9 tribulation. The fire-winged lion looked at the heavenly tribulation with excitement and apprehension in its eyes. Suddenly, it soared into the sky, turned into a stream of light, and collided with the heavenly tribulation. Its eyes were filled with an incomparably determined light. Boom! In an instant, it collided with the heavenly tribulation. A thunderous sound exploded in the sky, shaking the heavens and earth. That void distorted crazily. Roar! At the same time, the fire-winged lion howled and smashed into the ground below, drowned in magma, and did not get up for a long time. "Is it dead?" Yan Wei murmured. Qin Feiyang said, "With such a terrifying heavenly might, even if it doesn't die, it will lose a layer of skin." Boom! Before his voice faded, a shocking aura suddenly spread out in the sky. Qin Feiyang looked up. Old Wu and the masked men also looked up at the sky. They saw that the electric arc had disappeared in the vortex, replaced by a flame. As time passed, the flame became more and more intense. In the end, all the dark clouds in the sky were dyed red. At first glance, it looked like a sea of fire burning and rolling in the sky. Roar! Suddenly, accompanied by a loud beast roar, a huge flaming beast shadow roared out of the vortex. That beast shadow was hundreds of feet tall, like a towering mountain, running and roaring in the sky. The flame illuminated half of the sky. It was like a supreme beast descending, exuding a great majesty that shrouded the world. Not to mention Qin Feiyang, even Old Wu and the masked men could not help but have the thought of kneeling down and worshipping in their hearts. Suddenly, the beast silhouette stopped and revealed its true appearance. "What?" Qin Feiyang exclaimed, his eyes almost popping out. That beast looked very strange. It looked like a musk deer, but it had a head like a dragon's and a huge tail like an ox's. His body was also covered in densely packed scales. They looked like snake scales, but they also looked more like dragon scales. Moreover, on its head, there were 2 half-meter-long antlers, red all over, blooming with a bright light. What kind of beast is this? Yan Wei's face was dull. Although this ferocious beast didn't look like one, it was very handsome. And the aura it exuded was like a real god. Dragon's head, antlers, ox's tail, elk's body. If I'm not wrong, it's the legendary divine beast, Fire Qilin. Qin Feiyang said word by word, his eyes full of shock. It could be seen that the fire-winged lion's previous tribulation was indeed the Nirvana tribulation. Fire Qilin. Yan Wei's body trembled. He also knew a little about the Fire Qilin. It was said that this Fire Qilin was a legendary divine beast, comparable to the divine dragon, and had the ability to defy the heavens. He never expected that after the fire-winged lion's tribulation, a Fire Qilin statue would descend. Rumble. That Fire Qilin stood high in the sky like a king, overlooking the world. This world seemed to be subdued under its feet. The void shattered and the sky collapsed. Boom. Suddenly, a wisp of flame swept out of its body and went straight down. Finally, the flame sank into the magma and disappeared. The next moment, the fire-winged lion floated out of the magma. It closed its eyes, covered in flames, as if it was sleeping, looking particularly peaceful. However, its body was quietly changing. First, the head. The head kept changing, and in less than 10 breaths, a dragon head appeared in everyone's sight. Then, its fur fell off bit by bit, and was replaced by fiery red scales. Then, its body, tail, eyes, and limbs also began to change. Until the end, a real Fire Qilin appeared high in the sky. A terrifying divine beast's power also spread out, shocking the hearts of everyone present. Fire Qilin. Qin Feiyang's eyes were shining like 2 bright moons. He really didn't expect. This fire-winged lion actually had the bloodline power of the divine beast Fire Qilin. Swish. He turned to look at Old Wu and asked, "You already knew?" "That's right. It's also because we found out that it has the bloodline power of the Fire Qilin that young master wanted to subdue it. But this beast would rather die than submit. Originally, we wanted to forcibly take out its heart fire, because for the Fire Qilin, the heart fire is their lifeline. As long as the heart fire is controlled by us, it has no choice but to submit. But this beast is also very cunning. It actually hid the heart fire." Old Wu's old face was incomparably gloomy. Qin Feiyang said, "You are far away in the central divine kingdom. How did you know that there is a fire-winged lion with the bloodline power of the Qilin here?" "Our tribe's totem is the Fire Qilin. We have been looking for it, hoping to find a real Fire Qilin to be our tribe's guardian beast. Now we finally found it, but I didn't expect it to be destroyed by you." Old Wu stared at Qin Feiyang, his old face full of resentment. Chapter 841. You people with powerful families and backgrounds have always been high and mighty. You don't take others seriously. I just feel that it's a very pleasant thing to be able to spoil your plans. Qin Feiyang laughed. Elder Wu's face darkened. Roar. At this moment, with an earth-shaking beast roar, the Fire Qilin in the sky got into the vortex and disappeared. The tribulation clouds also began to recede like the tide. Elder Wu looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "When will you let him go?" Qin Feiyang said, "When I'm out of danger, I will let him go." Elder Wu's eyes flashed coldly. Whoosh! The tribulation clouds receded and the heavenly power disappeared. The world gradually returned to calm. The masked men who were guarding the other directions also rushed over here one after another. Ha! What's going on? Why was the young master kidnapped? He. Isn't he the rumored Qin Feiyang? When these people arrived and saw Qin Feiyang, their faces changed drastically. Yan Wei glanced at those people's expressions and secretly joked, "It seems that your name has really spread throughout the Central Divine Kingdom." "Actually, I didn't do anything bad." Qin Feiyang sighed helplessly. Whether it was slaughtering the creatures in the 1st and 2nd areas, or snatching the alchemy fire in the 5th to 9th areas, it had nothing to do with him. He really couldn't figure out why no matter where he went, there would be people who would come to him. Could it be that he was born to attract criticism? Fortunately, Lu Hong had recorded his conversation with the Mu family's ancestor. Otherwise, even if he jumped into the netherworld, he wouldn't be able to clear his name. Gossip is a fearful thing. Yan Wei sighed. To be honest, if it wasn't for the time he spent with Qin Feiyang and knew about Qin Feiyang, if he didn't hear the Mu family's ancestors' words with his own ears, even he would believe that all of this was done by Qin Feiyang. At this moment, all the masked men gathered around. More than 100 battle emperors surrounded Qin Feiyang and Qin Wentian. Faced with such a situation, if it were anyone else, Even if they were controlling the purple-clothed youth, they would probably have lost their composure. Yan Wei was the best example. Looking at the hundreds of battle emperors around him, his face was filled with anxiety. Even the arm that was holding onto the purple-robed young man was trembling. But Qin Feiyong was very calm. He looked up at the fire-winged lion. No. It should be called the fire qilin now. He looked at the fire qilin in bewilderment. One had to know. He had never seen this fire qilin before, but why did it give him this kind of indescribable feeling of familiarity? A moment passed. The fire qilin's injuries were mostly healed. It opened its eyes and scanned everyone present. Finally, its gaze fell on Qin Feiyong. In its eyes, Qin Feiyong could clearly see a trace of gratitude. Qin Feiyong smiled and said, "This is not a good place to stay. You should leave quickly." "What about you?" the fire qilin asked. Its voice was very loud and deafening. Qin Feiyong smiled and said, "Don't worry about me, I can walk away." The fire qilin looked at him suspiciously and suddenly asked, "Why are you helping me?" Qin Feiyong pondered for a moment, then shook his head and said, "I don't know, it's a feeling." "All right. We'll meet again." Without any hesitation, the fire qilin turned into a ray of fire and quickly disappeared into the sky. Seeing the fire qilin leave without looking back, for some reason, Qin Feiyong felt an inexplicable sadness and reluctance in his heart. Could it be that I've really seen it before? Qin Feiyong was very confused. Whoosh! Suddenly, there was a sound of something breaking through the air. Someone else is coming? Everyone was shocked. They looked up and saw a purple figure flying through the air like lightning. It's him. Qin Feiyong and Yan Wei suddenly changed color. It was a purple-clothed old man. He had a ruddy face and white hair. His body was strong and his aura was as unfathomable as the ocean. That's right. He is the Mujia's second ancestor. At the same time, the purple-clothed old man also noticed Qin Feiyong. His old eyes suddenly burst out in amazing light. Yan Wei shouted, "Not good, let's go." The purple-clothed young man can threaten old Wu and the group of masked people, but certainly not the Mujia's second ancestor. If they continue to stay, it's absolutely a dead end. Bas. Qin Feiyong waved his hand and quickly opened a portal. Still want to escape? Seeing this, the Mujia's second ancestor sneered. A terrible pressure, like a tide, swept through the sky and rushed towards Qin Feiyong. Yan Wei shouted, "It's too late. Quickly enter the castle." Qin Feiyong's eyes sank. If they enter the castle, the Mujia will certainly continue to waste time with him. At present, there are not many herbs left for the battle Qi Dan. He simply does not have the capital to waste time with the Mujia. But now, it seems that there is no other way. Really unlucky. He angrily glared at the Mujia's second ancestor and took Yan Wei and the purple-clothed young man into the castle. Bastard! Let go of the young master. Seeing this situation, old Wu and the group of masked people were also anxious. Whoosh! The purple-clothed old man landed in front of old Wu. The terrifying pressure firmly imprisoned the group of people. He coldly said, "Who are you? What is your relationship with Qin Feiyong?" At this moment, old Wu and the others couldn't help but feel cold. Old Wu respectfully said, "I am the high priest of the Qilin tribe. May I ask who you are?" The purple-clothed old man said, "This old man is the Mujia's second ancestor." Mujia's second ancestor. Old Wu's body trembled. He quickly said, "Greetings, my lord." "Yes." The purple-clothed old man nodded. "What are you doing here?" "We're here for the fire Qilin." Old Wu didn't dare to hide the slightest thing. He recounted the previous situation in detail. It turned out that the fire-winged lion was crossing the Nirvana tribulation. No wonder even the people in the 9th area could feel a trace of heavenly power. What about the fire Qilin? The purple-clothed old man suddenly realized and asked. It ran away. My family's young master was also held hostage by Qin Feiyong. Old Wu said. You guys are truly unlucky. You actually met Qin Feiyong, this fiend. However, a peerless beast like the fire Qilin is not something that a small tribe like yours is qualified to have. The purple-clothed old man smiled disdainfully. Which direction did the fire Qilin go? This. Old Wu hesitated. Because it's obvious that the Mujia also wants the fire Qilin. If the Mujia makes a move, then the Chilan tribe basically has nothing to do with it. The purple-clothed old man raised his eyebrows. A fierce light flashed in his eyes. If you dare to say that you don't know, this old man will dig out all of your eyeballs. Old Wu's face turned pale and hurriedly said, I know, it went in the direction of the 8th area, but whether it went to the 8th area or not, I don't know. The purple-clothed old man heard this, was silent for a while, and took out the image crystal. Bas. Soon, a black-clothed old woman appeared. It was the previous housekeeper of the Mu Jia. The black-clothed old woman bowed and said, Greetings to the second ancestor. Quickly inform the patriarch that a fire Chilan has appeared in the Flame Mountain range and is fleeing to the 8th area. Ask him to immediately send someone to intercept it. By the way, tell the great ancestor that I found Qin Fei Yang, and he is also in the Flame Mountain range. The purple-clothed old man said. Fire Chilan. The black-clothed old woman's eyes trembled, and hurriedly said, I'll go find the patriarch right away. After that, the shadow disappeared. The purple-clothed old man also put away the image crystal, looked at old Wu and the others, and said, You guys go. Go. A group of people looked at each other. Old Wu swallowed his saliva, and said, Lord, we don't want to stay here and disturb you, but our young master is still in the hands of Qin Fei Yang. Don't have any hope. I know Qin Fei Yang too well. As long as someone falls into his hands, there will be no way to survive. The purple-clothed old man sneered. Old Wu's heart sank. The purple-clothed old man said with a blank expression, This old man doesn't want to say it again. Okay, we'll leave now. Old Wu nodded again and again, unwillingly looked at the place where Qin Fei Yang and the others disappeared, and then opened a portal, leading a group of people, and quickly left. At the same time, inside the castle, Yan Wei has released the purple-clothed young man, and at this moment, he was looking at the castle curiously. Qin Fei Yang, on the other hand, was carefully listening to the conversation outside. When he heard the introduction of the conversation outside, Qin Fei Yang turned to look at the purple-clothed young man and asked, What's your name? The purple-clothed young man's body stiffened. He stared at Qin Fei Yang with vigilance, and said, Wu Xiao. Qin Fei Yang asked, What's the status of your Kirin tribe in the Central Divine Kingdom? It's not bad. It's one of the top 10 tribes. Wu Xiao timidly said. If he didn't know the true identity of Qin Fei Yang, he would certainly be proud. And as the young master of the Kirin tribe, one of the top 10 tribes in the Central Divine Kingdom, he indeed has the capital to be proud. But now, he really didn't dare to be arrogant in front of Qin Fei Yang. Qin Fei Yang was stunned, and said in surprise, There are so many super tribes in the Central Divine Kingdom? Wu Xiao nodded. So your status is not low. But why can't your high priest recognize the second ancestor of the Mu Jia? Qin Fei Yang was suspicious. Because the Mu Jia is very mysterious, and they rarely appear in front of people, we basically only know the existence of the Mu Jia. Especially the great ancestor, the second ancestor, and the demon child. Since I was born, I have never seen them appear in the Central Divine Kingdom. So we have only heard of their names, but have never seen them in person. Wu Xiao said. So that's it. Qin Fei Yang suddenly nodded. At this time, Fatso opened his eyes and said worriedly, Boss, the battle Qi Dan is really running out. We can't waste any more time with the Mu Jia. I know. Qin Fei Yang said. Yan Wei hesitated and said, The battle Qi Dan, we don't need to think about it for the time being. What do you mean? Everyone looked at him in surprise. When the mysterious lady took away my people, I went to the tribe's treasure house and took a part of the medicinal materials. The medicinal materials for the battle Qi Dan are estimated to be more than 5 million. Yan Wei said. This. Several people looked at each other. This is really an unexpected surprise. Fatso said angrily. Why didn't you say so earlier? Fat Lord has been here for so long. Yan Wei scratched his head and said awkwardly, I thought such a thing would never happen again, so I didn't mention it. Everyone shook their heads and laughed. In any case, the current problem has been solved. However, more than 5 million sets of medicinal materials, it's not a small amount, but it's not a lot either. At the current rate of consumption, they can only last for about half a year, so they can't completely put down their worries and hide in the castle to cultivate. Chapter 842. What do you want? The young man in purple shrank his neck and put his hands in front of his chest as if he was guarding against a pervert. Qin Fei Yang's face twitched. Do you have any medicinal materials for the battle chi pill? I'm not an alchemist, so I don't have any. The young man in purple shook his head. Qin Feiyong frowned and said, Then give me the coordinates of the Central Divine Kingdom. You want to go to the Central Divine Kingdom? The young man in purple was surprised. Qin Feiyong nodded. The young man in purple was dumbfounded. He knew. Now, whether it was the Pill Tower or the Mu family, they were all looking for this guy. Anyone with a little sense would choose to find a place to hide in the 9 regions. However, this guy actually took the initiative to go there. He was really not afraid of death. Seeing that the young man in purple was silent for a long time, Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows and said unkindly, You don't want to give me the coordinates? The young man in purple quickly said, It's not that I don't want to give you the coordinates, but it's useless even if I give you the coordinates. Why? Qin Feiyong asked. Because the portal can't directly teleport to the Central Divine Kingdom. There is only one way to enter the Central Divine Kingdom, and that is through the portal of the Pill Tower in the 9th region. The young man in purple said. The portal again. Qin Feiyong was quite angry. In the Great Qin Empire, people in the 9 regions also had to go through the portal if they wanted to go to the capital. In fact, there was an advantage to this. It could prevent some people with bad intentions from sneaking into the capital and the Central Divine Kingdom without being noticed. But on the other hand, this practice had a taste of discrimination. Because they were all from the same continent, why should they set up such barriers to hinder others? Didn't this show that people in other places were inferior to the people in the capital and the Central Divine Kingdom? Qin Feiyong frowned. Is there no other way to enter the Central Divine Kingdom besides the portal? The people of the Mu family and the Pill Tower must be waiting for them at the portal, so they must not go there. Yes, but it's very dangerous. There is a vast ocean between the Central Divine Kingdom and the 9th region. We call it the Endless Sea. I've never been there, but I've heard that there are countless sea beasts there. And there are all kinds of dangerous places. I can tell you with certainty that since ancient times, there has never been anyone who has successfully crossed the Endless Sea. The purple-clad young man said. Qin Feiyong asked, How strong are those sea beasts? It said that emperor-level sea beasts travel in groups. There are even rumors that there is a divine beast hidden somewhere in the Endless Sea. This divine beast is not something the fire Qilin can compare to. It is said that it is a true deity. The purple-clad young man said in a deep voice. God. Qin Feiyong felt a chill in his heart. Regardless of whether this rumor was true or false, just those emperor-level sea beasts were enough to make people feel intimidated. Qin Feiyong said, Then give me the coordinates of the Pill Tower in the 9th region. The purple-clad young man said, I won't give you the coordinates, but I can take you there. Qin Feiyong was stunned and looked at the purple-clad young man with a playful smile. You're quite smart. You know this is your only bargaining chip. Humph. The purple-clad young man snorted from his nose and said, Although my Qilin tribe is not as strong as the Mu family and the Pill Tower, it's not something you can compete with now. If you dare to touch me, I promise you will regret it in the future. TSK TSK TSK. You're still being arrogant. Fatso looked at him maliciously, his face full of ridicule. The purple-clad young man shrunk his neck and said, I'm not being arrogant, I'm just stating a fact. Instead of hurting me, you might as well cooperate with me. With my help, you will have a higher chance of sneaking into the Central Divine Kingdom. Qin Feiyong said, Then tell me, how can you help me? To be honest, he was a little tempted. When old Wu goes back, he will certainly explain this to my father, and my father will certainly come to me in person. At that time, you can change your face, pretend to be a member of my tribe, and follow me into the Central Divine Kingdom. Of course, the premise is that you have to find a way to get rid of the Mu family's second ancestor, otherwise, we will be trapped here and can't go anywhere. The purple-clad young man said. Qin Feiyong heard and couldn't help but laugh. The purple-clad young man frowned. What are you laughing at? I have to say you're still too naive. The Mu family wants to catch me. Even if I change my face and follow you, I can't escape their interrogation. Because in this world, there are things called Heaven's Eye Stone and Facial Restoration Pill. Unless your Qilin tribe is strong enough to not accept the Mu family's interrogation. But do you dare? Actually, I have an idea. Qin Feiyong said. What idea? The purple-clad young man asked. I have a conversation record in my hand. As long as this conversation record is successfully handed over to the Pill Tower, They will definitely send someone to save me. Qin Feiyang said. What conversation record? The purple-clad young man was surprised. One should know that what Qin Feiyang did in the 9 regions had completely angered the Pill Tower. It can be said that the Pill Tower's people can't wait to skin him alive, so how could they save him? You don't need to know this. You just need to remember, don't play any tricks, otherwise, no matter where you hide, I can kill you. Cripple his cultivation. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, Yan Wei immediately waved his hand and shattered the purple-clad young man's qi. What are you doing? The purple-clad young man was shocked and angry. The severe pain made his face distorted. Qin Feiyang ignored him. His hands quickly formed a seal, and soon a slave seal appeared and disappeared into the purple-clad young man's mind. This is the slave seal. Even if you are in the central divine kingdom, I can erase your soul with just a thought. Qin Feiyang said. Slave seal? The purple-clad young man looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. Yan Wei sighed. Don't think that he is joking, because of this, I have to work for him. Hearing this, the purple-clad young man was shocked. Even a battle saint can be controlled. Isn't this too ridiculous? Qin Feiyang said. Take out your image crystal. Okay. The purple-clad young man quickly responded and obediently took out the image crystal. After the two established a contract bridge, Qin Feiyang said, go out after you repair your qi. Be careful of the Mu clan's second ancestor, he is likely to harm you. No way. I didn't offend him. The purple-clad young man was surprised. When facing the Mu clan's people, you better not have such a wishful thinking. Fatso smiled coldly. Okay. I'll be careful. The purple-clad young man looked at Fatso and nodded, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, that recording you won't give me? When you see the Pill Tower's people, send me a message, then I will send it to you. Qin Feiyang said. Okay. The purple-clad young man nodded. Then, Qin Feiyang took out a spirit sea pill and threw it to the purple-clad young man. For Dan veins. The purple-clad young man caught the spirit sea pill. His face was full of shock. Qin Feiyang frowned. Don't talk nonsense. Quickly repair your qi. About half an hour later, the purple-clad young man finally repaired his qi. Qin Feiyang didn't hesitate, waved his hand and sent the purple-clad young man out of the castle. Fatso said, do you think the Mu clan's old monster will kill him? The Wolf King pondered for a moment before saying, most likely. Don't say such unlucky words. Now whether we can turn things around or not depends on him. Qin Feiyang stared at Fatso and Wolf King, then calmed down and listened to the movements outside. At the same time, outside, since Qin Feiyang entered the ancient castle, the exposed ancient castle would automatically sink. Therefore, the place where the purple-clothed youth appeared was in the magma of the mountain range below. The temperature of the magma was extremely high and could instantly melt steel, but the purple-clad young man was a 9-star battlemaster, so it was not a threat to him. Bang! He leaped out of the magma. Boom! As soon as he rushed out of the magma, a terrifying pressure enveloped him. Where's Qin Feiyang? Following. A bone-chilling voice entered his ears. The purple-clad young man's face changed, and he quickly looked up and saw the Mu clan's second ancestor standing above his head. Greetings, senior. He hurriedly bowed and said. The Mu clan's second ancestor said impatiently, I'm asking you where Qin Feiyang is now, answer me quickly. The purple-clad young man's body trembled, and he respectfully replied, he's still hiding in that castle. The Mu clan's second ancestor narrowed his eyes. Then why did he let you go? I made a deal with him. I gave him the coordinates of the Pill Pagoda in District 9, and he agreed to let me go. The purple-clad young man said, his heart vigilant. Is that so? Didn't he give you anything? The Mu clan's second ancestor said. What can he give me? The purple-clad young man was puzzled. Strange. The Mu clan's second ancestor frowned. Could it be that this little bastard didn't have any evidence in his hands, and was just scaring them? No. I'd rather kill 1,000 by mistake than let one go. The Mu clan's second ancestor muttered, his eyes filled with murderous intent. The purple-clad young man suddenly felt as if he had fallen into a bottomless abyss. His whole body was cold. He quickly knelt in the void and begged, Senior, I don't know anything. Please don't kill me. I only believe that in this world, only the dead will keep their mouths shut forever. The Mu clan's second ancestor said expressionlessly. His old hand reached out, and an invisible force surged out. "My lord, please show mercy." At this moment, an anxious shout rang out. Whoosh! Before the voice fell, two figures appeared out of thin air in the void not far away. One of them was Elder Wu. The other person was a middle-aged man, about 1.8 meters tall, wearing a fitted white robe. His hair was half black and half white, and he was full of vicissitudes of life. "Father, save me, quick." Seeing the middle-aged man, the purple-clad young man seemed to have grasped at a life-saving straw, and quickly called for help. The identity of this person was naturally clear, the leader of the Qilin tribe. Whoosh! As soon as the two appeared, they stood in front of the purple-clad young man. "Don't be afraid." Chapter 843. The Mu family's second ancestor glanced at the three people, frowning slightly. A moment later, he lowered his arm and said, "I can let him go, but before we catch Qin Feiyong, he must stay in the Mu family." "Why?" The Qilin tribe leader was puzzled. "There is no why, you just have to nod your head, or else, you will all die here," the Mu family's second ancestor said, a cold light surging in his eyes. Although he didn't know whether Qin Feiyong had evidence or not, he must eliminate all possibilities. And Qin Feiyong letting go of the purple-clothed youth, in his opinion, was very abnormal. So he had to be careful. "Sir, I respect you, but your way of doing things, isn't it too much?" The Qilin tribe leader frowned. "You should respect me. As for whether it's too much or not, it's up to me," the Mu family's second ancestor said lightly. Although his words were plain, they were overbearing. The Qilin tribe leader and old man Wu couldn't help but show a trace of anger in their eyes. "I admit, your Mu family is very strong. My Qilin tribe can't even catch up. But don't forget, the Pill Tower is the ruler of the Forgotten Continent. And your Mu family, after all, is just an outsider. I'm not afraid to tell you the truth. This time I came to find you, my people all know. If something happens to me here, my people will definitely go to the head of the Pill Tower to explain this matter. And my Qilin tribe, although in your eyes, is nothing. But in any case, it is still one of the top 10 tribes of the Central Divine Kingdom. I believe the head of the Pill Tower won't sit idly by," the Qilin tribe leader said. "In other words, he has the backing of the Pill Tower. You dare to touch him?" Hearing these words, the Mu family's second ancestor's face became very ugly. As an existence second only to the ancestor, no one dared to speak to him like this. Because these words were obviously a threat. But frankly speaking, now, he really didn't dare to touch the Qilin tribe's leader and high priest. Because the Qilin tribe's leader was right, the Pill Tower is the supreme ruler of the Forgotten Continent. And all the major tribes of the Central Divine Kingdom also follow the Pill Tower's lead. If he touched the Qilin tribe's people, the Pill Tower will definitely not sit idly by. At that time, the Mu family will be facing the whole world's enemy. Of course. It's not that the Mu family is afraid of the Pill Pagoda. It was just that it wasn't time to fall out with him yet. "This old man just wants your son to be a guest in my Mu family. This request is actually not too much," Mu Jia's second ancestor said. No matter what, he would not let the purple-clothed youth leave today. "Just a guest?" The leader of the Qilin tribe was bewildered. "Yes. This old man promises you that after we capture Qin Feiyong, this old man will personally send him back to your Qilin tribe." The Mu Jia's second ancestor nodded. The Qilin tribe leader and Old Wu looked at each other, and their eyes were filled with doubt. Old Wu was puzzled. "My lord, I don't understand. What does your capture of Qin Feiyong have to do with my young master? Don't ask what you shouldn't. I've already given you enough face. If you continue to pester me endlessly, I won't be polite anymore," Mu Jia's second ancestor said in a deep voice. Their pupils shrank. Although the Mu clan's second grandfather had some intentions of compromising, after all, the strength and background of the Mu clan's people were right in front of them. They didn't dare to push their luck. Finally, the Qilin tribe leader gritted his teeth and nodded. "All right, as long as you don't hurt my son, you can take him away." Mu Jia's second ancestor smiled and said, "Then please go back." The purple-clothed youth quickly said, "Father, I don't want to go to the Mu family. I beg you." He now really believes that Qin Feiyong's conversation record is very unfavorable to the Mu family. Otherwise, The Mu family's second ancestor wouldn't have tried so hard to keep him here. Although the Mu family's second ancestor promised not to hurt him, who knows what will happen after he goes to the Mu family? So he's afraid. Don't be afraid, the Mu family is powerful. They certainly won't do anything that goes back on their word. You just need to stay here for a while. The Qilin tribe leader smiled and comforted him. The purple-clothed youth still wanted to say something. The Qilin tribe leader said, "You're a man, don't be so wishy-washy, it's settled." Immediately. He then looked at the Mu family's second ancestor and said, "During this time, I'll have to trouble you to take care of my son." Yes. The Mu family's second ancestor faintly nodded. The Qilin tribe leader patted the purple-clothed youth's shoulder and quietly said, "Child, in fact this is a good thing, the Mu family is mysterious, you can just go in and understand." After that, he waved his hand and opened a portal, turned to look at Old Wu and said, "Let's go." Old Wu secretly said, "You're really at ease. What can I do if I'm not at ease?" This old thing obviously won't change his mind. If we dare to refuse again, I'm afraid we'll really be killed by him. The Qilin tribe leader secretly said and then stepped into the portal. His eyes were quite hazy. Alas! Old Wu deeply sighed, secretly told the purple-clothed youth and also followed into the portal. "Why am I so unlucky?" The purple-clothed youth secretly said, his face full of helplessness and pain. Soon, the portal disappeared. The Mu family's second ancestor's eyes flashed, looked at the purple-clothed youth and asked again, "Qin Feiyong really didn't give you anything?" "No." The purple-clothed youth shook his head. He was sure that if he told the truth, before Qin Feiyong erased his soul, this old thing would have already done something to him. The Mu family's second ancestor looked at him seriously and said, "Okay, this old man will now call someone to take you to the Mu family." After that, he took out the image crystal. "It won't work. It seems that now we can only slowly waste time with the Mu family." Inside the castle, Fatso sighed. Qin Feiyong and the others also looked worried. Originally, they wanted to rely on the purple-clothed youth to turn the tables, but they didn't expect to be stopped by the Mu family's second ancestor. When the purple-clothed youth went to the Mu family, under the Mu family's surveillance, he had no chance to find the Pill Tower's people. Roar! But suddenly there was a change. A loud roar of a beast could be heard coming from outside, shaking the surroundings. Ha! Qin Feiyong and the others were surprised. At the same time, outside, the Mu family's second ancestor and the purple-clothed youth were also surprised, immediately looked up and saw on a mountain peak a few miles away, a majestic beast stood. It was the Fire Qilin. Its whole body was surrounded by flames, like a king, standing on the edge of the cliff, coldly looking at the Mu family's second ancestor. Didn't it leave? Why did it come back? The purple-clothed youth was stunned. But the Mu family's second ancestor's old face was full of ecstasy. It really is the legendary beast, the Fire Qilin. "Wait for me here," he said to the purple-clothed youth without looking back, and rushed towards the Fire Qilin. Roar! The Fire Qilin roared, turned into a flame, and quickly disappeared into the sky. "Stand there!" The Mu family's second ancestor shouted. His speed was much faster than the Fire Qilin, and in the blink of an eye, he closed the distance. "Now!" The purple-clothed youth's eyes flashed, quickly opened a portal, and rushed in like lightning. Inside the castle. "What's going on? Didn't we let it go? Why did it come back?" Qin Feiyong frowned. "It can't be that in order to save you, it deliberately came back to lure the Mu family's second ancestor away," Lu Hong said. "Save me." Qin Feiyong was stunned. "Stupid." Immediately, he cursed, and quickly left the castle with Yan Wei, rushed into the sky, and scanned the surroundings. At this moment, there was no trace of the Fire Qilin and the Mu family's second ancestor. Yan Wei frowned. "Where's Wu Xiao? Do you still need to think? He must have taken the opportunity to run away." Qin Feiyong sneered. Yan Wei said, "Then let's take the opportunity to run away." "No. The Fire Qilin came back to save us. And its cultivation is far less than the Mu family's second ancestor. I can't leave it alone." Qin Feiyong said in a deep voice. "Who said that beasts are ruthless? In fact, beasts know how to repay kindness more than some people. I know you're a righteous person, but it depends on the time. I'm telling you, if you run now, not only will you not be able to save it, but you will also lose yourself. Yan Wei said angrily. Roar! Before his voice fell, the fire Qilin's roar sounded again, with a trace of pain. Qin Feiyong clenched his hands, used the phantom steps, and rushed in the direction of the roar. Damn it! Yan Wei cursed angrily, and quickly caught up with Qin Feiyong. You said the fire Qilin is confused. I think you're even more confused than it. After that, he waved his hand, rolled up Qin Feiyong, and used the demon's 9 steps, like a flash of lightning, breaking through the sky. About 10 breaths. The two stopped above a mountain peak, looking at the void in the distance. In that place, the fire Qilin stood in the void, constantly roaring, but unable to move. The Mu family's second ancestor stood next to the fire Qilin. His eyes were burning. Obviously, the fire Qilin was imprisoned by the majesty of the Mu family's second ancestor. Bastard! Qin Feiyong's eyes were cold. Seeing this, Yan Wei hurriedly grabbed him and advised, don't be impulsive. The fire Qilin sacrificed itself to give you a way out. If you rush up now, wouldn't you be letting down its good intentions? Qin Feiyong said, don't worry, I won't be impulsive. Whoosh. It was also at this moment, the Mu family's second ancestor seemed to feel something, and turned his head to look behind. Ha! When he saw Qin Feiyong and Yan Wei, he couldn't help but look stunned. Then, he raised his eyebrows, turned to look at the fire Qilin, and said, you came back to save him? The fire Qilin coldly glanced at him, then looked up at Qin Feiyong, and angrily said, what are you doing here? Go. Thank you. Qin Feiyong bowed. The fire Qilin said, I'm just repaying your favor, no need to thank me. Qin Feiyong faintly smiled, and without hesitation, decisively opened a portal, and went in with Yan Wei. It was too late for the Mu family's second ancestor to stop them. He could only watch Qin Feiyong disappear in front of his eyes. Whoosh! He suddenly turned his head, stared at the fire Qilin, and roared. What did he do for you, that you would help him like this? Even disregarding your own life? He's better than you. The fire Qilin smiled coldly, then closed its eyes, and no longer spoke. It had an attitude of, if you want to kill me, then do whatever you want. Damn bastard, if it weren't for the fact that you're a mythological beast, this old man would definitely kill you. The Mu family's second ancestor said coldly, then opened a portal and forcibly left with the fire Qilin. Chapter 844. At the edge of the Flame Mountain Range, there was a majestic mountain ridge. At this moment, Qin Feiyong stood above the mountain ridge, looking into the depths of the Flame Mountain Range, his eyes flashing with a shocking cold light. Yan Wei, on the other hand, stood beside him in silence. After a while, Qin Feiyong took out the image crystal and poured his battle qi into it. At the same time, somewhere in the 9th district there was a huge city. This city was called Ice Crystal City. As the name suggested, Ice Crystal City was covered in snow all year round. Every building, including every street, was covered with a thick layer of ice. In the center of the city, an ancient stone tower stood between heaven and earth, emitting a cold aura. It was the Pill Tower. In front of the tower, there was a huge square, and the teleportation altar was located in the center of the square. At this moment, at the edge of the square, hundreds of figures stood upright. They were wearing black armor, with sharp eyes, holding a long halberd in their hands, showing off their sharpness. In addition to them, there was a group of people who were particularly eye-catching. There were a total of more than 50 people in this group. They were wearing black, with a flame symbol on their chest. They surrounded the teleportation altar, their aura unfathomable. At the same time, in front of the altar, there was a white-haired old man sitting cross-legged. He closed his eyes, as if he was recuperating. There was no symbol on his body, but the aura he exuded was many times stronger than those men in black. On the surrounding streets, everyone who passed by here looked at the white-haired old man with awe. At this moment, on the southern street, a figure was hurrying towards the square. It was the purple-clothed youth, Wu Xiao. Bas. Seeing that he was about to reach the square, the image crystal in his arms suddenly moved. He stopped and took out the image crystal, with a trace of surprise in his eyes. Who would send me a message at this time? Father. Or Qin Feiyong? I can't reply. If it's Qin Feiyong, there will be a lot of trouble. He kept the image crystal and continued to walk towards the square. At the same time, in the air above the Flame Mountain range, Yan Wei asked suspiciously, "Who are you sending a message to?" Qin Feiyong laughed and said, "Who else could it be other than Wu Xiao?" Yan Wei frowned and said, "He hasn't responded for so long. It seems like he doesn't want to see you anymore." "That's not up to him." A cold light flashed in Qin Feiyong's eyes. With a thought, the purple-clothed young man from the Ice Crystal City immediately fell to the ground, holding his head and howling in pain. He felt as if his head was about to explode. The intense pain was unbearable. What happened? The people around him stopped and looked at him in surprise. The black-armored guards on the square also looked at the purple-clothed young man with vigilance in their eyes. He seems to be the young chief of the Qilin tribe, Wu Xiao. Didn't his father just say that he's going to the Mu family? The group of black-clothed men guarding the altar were also whispering to each other. "Let's go and take a look." Suddenly, the white-haired old man said, but his eyes were still closed. "Yes." A black-clothed man respectfully responded, strode out of the square and walked towards the purple-clothed young man. At this time, the purple-clothed young man had stopped howling, and the pain in his head also disappeared. But he squatted on the ground. His heart was filled with fear. He originally thought that Qin Feiyong was just scaring him. But now it seems that this is not the case. The slave seal can really control his soul. "What's wrong? Do you need help?" The black-clothed man walked in front of him and asked. "No need, no need. It's just a sudden headache. I'm fine now. Thank you." The purple-clothed young man quickly got up and said respectfully. The black-clothed man looked at him suspiciously and said, "Didn't your father say that you're going to the Mu family? Why are you alone now?" The purple-clothed young man rolled his eyes, smiled and said, "I have something to do. I'll go another day." "So it's like this." The man in black suddenly nodded and asked curiously, "Can you tell me why the Mu family invited you as a guest?" The purple-clothed young man hesitated for a moment, shook his head and said, "To be honest, I don't know." "You don't know?" The black-clothed man was surprised. But looking at the purple-clothed young man's expression, he didn't seem to be lying. "This Mu family, what are they trying to do?" The purple-clothed young man said, "Sir, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first." "Where are you going? Back to the Central Divine Kingdom?" the black-clothed man asked. "No rush. It's not easy to come to Ice Crystal City. I must have fun for a while." The purple-clothed young man smiled. The black-clothed man was speechless for a while and waved his hand. "Go." The purple-clothed young man smiled and ran away. "Sure enough, he's a playboy." The black-clothed man shook his head and didn't think much about it. He turned and walked toward the square. Near the square, in a small alley, the purple-clothed young man walked in with a gloomy face. Seeing that there was no one around, he took out the image crystal. Bas! The next moment, an illusory figure appeared. It was Qin Feiyong. "Do you think you can run away? If I didn't show mercy just now, I'm afraid you'd be dead on the street now." Qin Feiyong faintly smiled. The purple-clothed young man's eyes trembled and said in a deep voice, "What do you want to let me go?" "Don't worry, when the time comes, I'll definitely let you go." Qin Feiyong smiled and said, "Now give me your coordinates." Sigh. The purple-clothed young man sighed deeply and gave the coordinates to Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong immediately opened a portal and brought Yan Wei to the purple-clothed young man. "What's next?" The purple-clothed young man looked at Qin Feiyong and asked. Qin Feiyong said, "Tell me about the situation here. The alchemy fire here, wasn't it you who took it? I heard that even the tower master here was killed by your accomplice. Do you still need me to tell you?" The purple-clothed young man frowned. Yan Wei raised his eyebrows and shouted, "Don't talk nonsense, just tell me." The purple-clothed young man shrunk his neck and said, "This is called Ice Crystal City, the Pill Tower and the Teleportation Altar are nearby. But now the Teleportation Altar is guarded not only by the people of the City Lord Mansion, but also by the people of the Central Tower, and even a messenger." "What about the Mu family?" Qin Feiyong asked. "I don't see them. Maybe they're hiding in the crowd. Of course, I've never seen the Mu family before. Even if they stand in front of me, I won't recognize them." The purple-clothed young man said. Qin Feiyong nodded and pondered for a while, then said, "Are there any restaurants nearby?" "Yes." "Go out of this alley, turn right, enter the street, then go straight, about 500 or 600 meters away. There's a restaurant called Purple Cloud Restaurant. The purple-clothed young man thought and said, Okay. Yan Wei and I will go to Purple Cloud Restaurant first. You go and call the messenger of the central tower. Qin Feiyong said. The purple-clothed young man said, Is it necessary? Can't we just go and find him? I have other things to do. After Qin Feiyong finished speaking, he took out 2 illusory form pills. He threw one to Yan Wei and swallowed the other. Just like before, Yan Wei disguised as an old man. Qin Feiyong disguised as a blue-haired young man. Qin Feiyong looked at the purple-clothed young man and said, Go, after this matter is settled, I will remove your slave seal. Really? The purple-clothed young man was stunned and quickly asked, I always keep my word. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly, took Yan Wei, and strode to the end of the alley. Finally, I'm going to regain my freedom. The purple-clothed young man was ecstatic and quickly turned and ran to the square. About a few hundred breaths later, Qin Feiyong and the purple-clothed young man came to the entrance of the Purple Cloud Restaurant. At the door stood 2 waiters. Seeing Qin Feiyong and the purple-clothed young man stop in front of the door, one of the waiters immediately ran up and said with a flattering smile, 2 guests, do you want to drink or stay? Let's drink a little, and arrange a slightly more secluded room for me. Qin Feiyong smiled. Okay, please come in. Under the waiter's guidance, the 2 entered the Purple Cloud Restaurant. In the hall, there were not many guests, sitting in 2s and 3s, drinking and chatting. As for Qin Feiyong's arrival, these people only glanced at him hurriedly and then looked away. Of course, if Qin Feiyong did not change his appearance, it would definitely be a different scene. Young master, the secluded room is on the 4th floor, follow me. The waiter called out, went straight up the stairs, and ran up. Everything went smoothly. But just as the 3 of them walked up to the 4th floor, the door of a room suddenly opened. Then an old man in white walked out. This person had white hair and a white beard, and his white clothes were spotless. He looked like an immortal and had an extraordinary temperament. Seeing this old man, Qin Feiyong's pupils constricted, and deep disbelief crept up in his eyes. After the old man closed the door of the room, he walked towards Qin Feiyong and the other 2. It seemed that he was going downstairs. When they met, the waiter bowed and said, Hello, senior. Yes. The old man in white nodded, glanced at Qin Feiyong and Yan Wei, and walked straight past the 3 of them. And from the beginning to the end, Qin Feiyong lowered his head, as if he was very afraid of this old man. But suddenly, the old man in white who had already passed by stopped, turned around and stared at Qin Feiyong's back, and a trace of doubt crept up in his old eyes. And Qin Feiyong could clearly sense that the old man in white was staring at him. On his forehead, there were already beads of sweat the size of beans. It could be seen how nervous he was at this moment. After a few breaths, the waiter passed through a corridor, stopped in front of a room, and said with a smile, Young master, this is your room. Yes. Qin Feiyong pretended to be calm, nodded, and strode into the room. The decoration inside was quite luxurious. The floor was covered with snow-white jade, and there was not a speck of dust. All kinds of decorations were also carved with colored glass, jade, and precious beads. And when Yan Wei and the waiter entered the room one after another, the old man in white withdrew his gaze. Why does it feel a little familiar? Illusion? The old man in white muttered to himself, with a trace of doubt, turned and went downstairs. In the room, the waiter greeted Qin Feiyong and the other 2, entered the tea room, and said with a flattering smile, Young master, what do you want to order? However, Qin Feiyong seemed not to hear. He sat by the tea table, lowered his head and frowned tightly. Seeing this, the waiter looked at Yan Wei suspiciously. Yan Wei looked at Qin Feiyong, his eyes full of doubts, and said to the waiter, Anything is fine, you arrange it. Okay. The waiter walked to the table and neatly placed it on the table. Qin Feiyong said again, If someone is looking for me, there's no need to report, just tell them to come up. Understood. The waiter nodded and smiled, then turned around and prepared to leave. Suddenly, Qin Feiyong stretched out his hand and said, Wait. The waiter was startled and asked, Young master, do you have any other orders? Qin Feiyong said calmly, When I went upstairs, I met that old man in white. Are you familiar with him? Not familiar. But that old senior is usually very kind. The waiter laughed. Kind? Qin Feiyong secretly sneered, and asked. Then when did he come to the Purple Cloud House? It seems to be half a month ago. The waiter thought for a moment and said. Half a month ago. Qin Feiyong pondered for a moment, took out a scarlet-colored glass pill, placed it on the tea table, and said with a faint smile. Take this, don't tell him, I asked you about him. Okay. The waiter's eyes lit up, and he quickly ran up to grab the Spirit Sea pill, and then ran out happily. This scarlet-colored glass pill only had one pill pattern. That waiter was a 3-star war emperor, so he was useless to him. But he could sell it at the exchange. For a waiter in a restaurant, this could be considered a considerable income. Qin Feiyong was silent for a moment, rubbed his swollen head and sighed. It seems that I have to be more careful in the future. Then he stood up, walked to the table, grabbed a wine cup, sat at the table, and poured himself a drink. Time passed breath by breath. About 100 breaths. Dong. Another knock on the door sounded. Is he here? Qin Feiyong said in a low voice, put down the wine cup, and said, Please come in. Before his voice died away, the door was pushed open, and an old man and a young man walked into the room. The young man was the purple-clothed young man. The old man was the white-haired old man who was guarding the altar. Qin Feiyong, this is the divine messenger of the main pagoda. Milord, this person is Qin Feiyong. The purple-clothed young man closed the door, introduced both sides, and then stepped aside, silently looking at the two. Are you really Qin Feiyong? The white-haired old man looked at Qin Feiyong. Yes, I am. Qin Feiyong took out a facial restoration pill and threw it into his mouth, and soon his face was restored. The moment he restored his face, the white-haired old man's eyes shone with a cold light. Don't you know that the pill pagoda is looking for you? He said in a deep voice. Of course I know, otherwise I wouldn't be hiding. Qin Feiyong smiled. The white-haired old man frowned. Then why did you take the initiative to look for me? Qin Feiyong was taken aback, and looked at the purple-clothed young man suspiciously. The purple-clothed young man said, This has nothing to do with me, and I didn't say anything. I only told him that you were here. Qin Feiyong nodded, looked at the white-haired old man again, and said with a faint smile, If I don't do anything wrong, I'm not afraid of ghosts knocking on my door. Since I dare to look for you, I definitely have the confidence. Please sit. Is there a need to sit? Get up and come with me. As long as you hand over all the alchemy fire, I will help you plead with the main pagoda master and ask him to be lenient. The white-haired old man said expressionlessly. Some things are not as simple as you think. If you don't listen to me, I can guarantee that not only will you regret it in the future, but your main pagoda will also suffer. Qin Feiyong picked up the wine glass, and said lightly while drinking. The white-haired old man raised his eyebrows, walked to the table and sat opposite Qin Feiyong, and said, This old man wants to see how you're going to quibble. Speak. It's not a quibble. It's the truth. Except for the heavenly thunder flame, heavenly ice flame, and heavenly mystic flame, all the alchemy fire is in the hands of the Mu clan. The main pagoda masters of the 5th to 9th districts were also killed by the Mu clan's second ancestor. Also, the first 2 divine envoys who appeared were forced by the Mu clan to self-destruct because they knew the truth. Of course, the main reason why they self-destructed was to help me get out of this predicament. Because I'm the only one in this world who knows the truth. If I die, no one can stop the Mu clan's conspiracy. Qin Feiyong said. You mean, all of this is the Mu clan's plot to frame you? The white-haired old man frowned. Yes. Qin Feiyong nodded. Impossible. The Mu clan has always abided by the rules in the Forgotten Continent. They would never do such a thing. Don't think that I'll believe you just because you said those words. Let me tell you, taking the initiative to admit your mistakes is your wisest choice. The white-haired old man sneered. Abiding by the rules? If that's what you think, then you're too naive. I'll tell you clearly, the Mu clan is planning a big conspiracy. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but I'm sure that once their conspiracy succeeds, the Forgotten Continent will fall into chaos. Qin Feiyong said. The white-haired old man raised his eyebrows angrily said, Enough, stop trying to drive a wedge between us. Drive a wedge between us? I'm not interested in that, nor do I have the time. Qin Feiyong waved his hand, Lu Hong appeared out of thin air next to him, said, "Record that conversation, let this confused divine envoy listen to it." The white-haired old man's eyes darkened, said, "Watch your words." Okay. You're not confused, you're smart, your wisdom is unparalleled. Is that okay?" Qin Feiyong hurriedly waved his hand, but there was a hint of ridicule at the corner of his mouth. "This guy's guts are too big." The purple-clothed youth standing at the side, just listening to Qin Feiyong's words, couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. One must know. The old man in front of him was not only the divine envoy of the main tower, but also a terrifying war emperor. It was no exaggeration to say that even his father, the leader of one of the top 10 super tribes, had to be respectful. But this guy, not only did he not have the slightest bit of respect, he was even mocking and ridiculing him. Did he really not know how to write the word death? At the same time, Lu Hong also took out the image crystal and slowly merged her battle chi into it. Immediately, the recording of that conversation slowly spread in the pavilion. In this conversation, not only Qin Feiyong and the Mu clan's ancestor, but also the black-clothed middle-aged man. That is, the divine envoy who was going to take Qin Feiyong to the central divine kingdom. Listening to these conversations, the white-haired old man's hands gradually clenched. The purple-clothed youth also had a look of horror. He didn't expect that all of this was really done by the Mu clan. "There's no such thing as an impenetrable wall in the world. Don't think that by killing me today, you can hide it from everyone. Let me tell you, your Mu clan will pay the price for this sooner or later." Finally, an even louder voice came out from the image crystal. This was what the divine envoy said to the Mu clan's ancestor before he self-destructed. "This Mu clan is too much." After listening to all the conversation, the white-haired old man suddenly stood up. His old eyes burst out with a strong murderous intent. "Although at that time, we didn't record the image of the divine envoy, but you are all divine envoys of the main tower, you should be able to recognize his voice. Now, do you still think that I'm trying to sow discord?" Qin Feiyong smiled faintly. The white-haired old man closed his eyes in pain. A moment later he opened his eyes, looked deeply at Qin Feiyong, and sighed. "I'm sorry all this time we have misunderstood you." "It's okay. As long as the misunderstanding can be solved. Now, tell me, what should I do?" Qin Feiyong said. The white-haired old man said without hesitation, "We must tell the truth to the master as soon as possible. I will take you to the central divine kingdom immediately." "I can't go to the central divine kingdom with you." Qin Feiyong shook his head. "Why? You're not innocent. What are you worried about?" The white-haired old man frowned. "You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.